this case.
Judge Juan Merchan held another hearing as to whether the former president violated the gag orders in the case after fining him $9,000 on Tuesday.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. There's a lot of flooding in the Houston, Texas area.
We had over 12 inches of rain in the Huntsville and the Walker County area. Willis had over 10 inches of rain. That water's got to go somewhere.
John Dawson with Fox 26 TV. Some roads are underwater with areas under evacuation orders as rivers swell, and the flooding is expected to get worse today into the weekend, putting homes and neighborhoods in danger. America's listening to Fox News.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself.
Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95 and comes with our Feel Better or Your Money Back guarantee. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
The Morning Extra, only on Extra 106.3.
Morning, y'all. It is Friday. Thank God it's Friday. I tell you, anytime you get to the weekend, it's better. Things are better on the weekend because you don't have anything you're responsible to do. You can just coast. You can just hang out. You can just do as you please.
I wish everything you said was correct.
Oh, see, it must mean you have a
there's obligations
honey-do list, or you've got volleyball. Which
there's obligations.
Is it both?
I'll be down at the Georgia World Congress Center all weekend.
Oh yeah, well.
And it's loud, man. Like there's no such thing as like the chill weekend. No, because thousands of girls screaming, Rhino.
Yeah,
it's not cool. Yeah, you know
it is cool, but
no, it's not cool. It's loud.
It's cool.
Like I want a quiet Rhino weekend where you like get the hammock,
right? Lay out on the porch, just chill out. But you know what? I mean, you're there for the kids, and you're not going to be able to do that much longer, which is great. But yeah, they scream. Girls scream so much loud. I mean,
yes,
look, 8-year-old boys are loud as can be. But girls,
at least as they get older, they get a little more chill.
Right.
Man, they get louder.
And girls are fun. Like, whenever you go to any kind of girls' sporting event, they have their own little cheers. They have their own little things that they do compared to boys. It's a lot of fun, but boy, are they loud.
There's a reason why when you have your wife, your girlfriend, whatever, when they go out to whatever event, we call them woo girls.
That's right.
Yeah. Because they all woo. It'll be like, new kids on the block are in town. Woo! And you're like, oh, God, it's so loud.
Have shown up. No, I love it. So you got that, Rhino. What you got?
What Carlos said. Laying in a hammock, hanging out, looking at the garden. Probably just,
actual relaxation.
Yeah, that's the thing that I started the show with. Rhino is actually going to participate in.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, just chill out, relax, enjoy the weekend. It's supposed to rain, so I guess we're not going to get too much outdoor stuff. But, probably tend to the garden. Just kind of hang around the house, do things around the house.
That's the
quiet time.
That's the way it's supposed to be right there, man. Yeah. And then this weekend, so tomorrow's my wife's birthday, and then Sunday, Cinco de Mayo. This made-up Budweiser holiday. It's
perfect excuse to day drink.
That's right.
There's a handful you get a year.
That's right.
That's another one.
Yeah, I'll take it. Does anybody participate? I mean, do you make it a point to participate? Board up Joe's raising his hand, of course.
When I was Joe's age.
Wheelhouse, exactly. Wheelhouse for Joe.
Yeah, that is the age group that, when I was his age, we'd find like one place, whether it be in Dunwoody or wherever everybody could meet, like 13 of us, and we'd go get May the 5th. I don't know. I plead the 5th on the rest of that.
Well, I mean, it was always St. Patrick's.
Yeah.
And then it was Cinco de Mayo, and those were the two that were, it didn't matter where you had to go and meet. You'd find yourself a Mexican joint, have a couple margaritas, and do your thing, and nobody judges you.
No, because it's invited. I mean, these people are paying big money to promote these events and things to do. And
hope everybody shows up.
And hoping they do. And look, they must.
They do.
They must, because
I'm thinking of saving money this year and buying a 12-pack of Modelo and going to Taco Bell and just sitting outside and drinking.
Dude, or
Just sit in the back of the truck.
Yeah.
But do that on the property, man. Don't do it at Taco Bell. Like, go back home and do it on the property.
Yeah, it's probably more fun. You're right.
Because there's nothing going on at Taco Bell. I mean, there's going to be people lapping the building.
Wave at them while I'm on my tailgate.
Yeah. You know what?
Pouring back some Modelo's.
Maybe then that starts a new trend. Like, it's the new, like, it'll be the new thing. It'll blow up on social media. There'll be somebody that'll be like, hey, did you see this guy? He's hanging out at the Taco Bell drinking Modelo's in the back of his tailgate eating quesadillas.
Yeah, just wearing a big sombrero.
That's right. Well, you can't culturally appropriate the sombrero.
No, you go for it.
I'm going for it.
You
I'm
do it.
celebrating.
Like my father-in-law, when we were in San Antonio, this is more than a decade ago, he went through the Mexican market and he found like the biggest, most audacious purple sombrero because during that time period, the more decorative your sombrero was showed the more wealth you had. Well, so he decided to get like the most ridiculous looking one, and so every Cinco de Mayo, that's what he busts out of his closet.
I love it.
I mean, we're talking like shoulder to shoulder, okay? Like the hat is huge.
That's
like he puts it on
awesome.
his head, and it's on each side of his shoulders.
Dude, I love it. I want one of those. I would like to have. I remember friends having like sombreros hanging in their homes as when like neighbors or whatever, just because they were cool.
They were
like,
cool.
I don't know if they're that cool.
They seem to think they were. They physically would hang them on the wall. Like they would just have sombreros. Much like
somebody told them, hey, this is a show of wealth.
Oh,
show how well off you're doing by hanging your sombrero in your
Is
house.
that real?
Yeah.
Oh, see, well, I didn't.
The nicer the sombrero, the more wealth that you're supposed to have.
See, I didn't realize
like,
that.
If you just got a regular straw sombrero, you ain't doing so great.
Right.
But I'll be honest, those are the ones I like the best.
They are the best.
I like the
colorful
regular
ones?
straw. Yeah, I think those are the best. I'm clearly poor, though.
I'm going to have to show you a different sort of sombrero.
Okay.
Now, I wouldn't wear either one of them, but I can show you ones that'll show you that Tug is doing very well.
Okay.
Tug Land is very wealthy.
Yeah, you're talking about like velvet made with like jewels on them.
Those are the
They're
ones
beautiful.
that they would hang at home. Yeah,
those are the rich people's.
I see, but I didn't know that. I didn't realize that was the
Dalton. They only have straw ones, huh?
Maybe I just didn't. No, there was a handful of the really decorative that were cool, but I don't know why it became a thing there for for part of my childhood. Let's say it was like 10 years old, and there would be people would just hang sombreros of that.
It must have been one of those style trends that people were like, kind of like you drive around now, every house is now like, looks like a farmhouse, like the farm look, and everybody's doing the farmhouse sinks and stuff like that. That must have been a sombrero trend for a while.
See, we're going to get you this one. This navy blue and gold sombrero.
That's a good
strong
one.
there.
That's a Tug hat if I've ever seen one.
That's different than just the straw sombrero. The straw sombrero, kind of just a working man sombrero.
Now, how much is that one?
This one's $70.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
All right. Yeah. What's just a regular straw one? Like $15?
Probably.
Yeah.
I did something.
You can also win it in Dave & Buster's.
You can, yes. No, not
if you got that kind of,
they don't allow that anymore.
If you have a regular straw sombrero,
there you go.
I like those, dude.
You're not doing so good.
I know, well,
you're a common man.
I think that's why I relate to them better. Because the very, what would you call them? The very
that's like a farmer's sombrero right there. That's what I say.
Yeah, very much so. Very working man.
Yeah, working man.
Now, it'd be really awesome, though, if we did have Tug with like a really high-end crazy sombrero. And so when you walk into, I don't know where you're going to go on Sunday, like Chili's or
Church.
something.
Are you going to go out after, though?
And you have...
not to get after it. No, not somewhere I need a sombrero.
Okay.
The entire wait staff just looks at him and they're like, this dude.
Trying to show everybody up.
Guy. Yeah.
He's that guy.
Yeah.
Coming in
or they'll be really nice and be like, he must have money. And they'll be really nice to him so that he tips well, and then they'll be disappointed.
Y'all, on the way home, we talk about tipping well. On the way home, we stopped at a little bitty hole-in-the-wall restaurant, and it reminded me of kind of the restaurants I grew up with, and they were the sweetest people that I've ever met in my whole life. When my wife ordered an unsweet tea, which they were shocked. They were like, hang on, you want to do what?
Yeah.
An unsweet tea. Okay.
That is a northern thing, right?
Totally.
Okay, because I ordered a unsweet tea too, and everybody was like, whoa. And I'm like, what?
Yeah,
well, because in New York, we had Nest tea. It was garbage, but it was always unsweet.
Yeah.
And they did have a sweet version that came out of the soda fountain, which is weird to me.
Yeah.
And I never understood that, but I always loved unsweet tea. So that is a northern thing.
It totally is. was, the sweet lady that took our order, she was like, "You ain't from around here, are you?"
That's great.
How can you tell, ma'am?
Because I just ordered unsweet tea.
Right. I just made 2 pounds of sugar in this tea.
That's
and
exactly
you want
right.
What?
And you don't want it.
Yeah. Are you crazy?
But it was great, though, just being in I don't even know what city we're in. I have no idea where we were. We were just cutting across from 26 to 20 on the way back from Charleston.
No.
And
you need to find it again.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's right before you get on. It's probably 2 or 3 miles before you get on I-20 north of, I guess it'd be 20B west. Am I right? East of Charleston or east of Augusta. And so I know where it is. I've seen it 1,000 times. I just don't know what city. I have no idea what city that is. But they're the sweetest people. And man, I think I left our tab was like $35 or whatever,
sure.
And I left a $6 tip, and they made a huge deal of it. They're like, we don't see tips like that around here. And I was like, it's $6. I didn't.
You said I apologize for the lady ordering unsweet tea.
Yeah, I was trying to make up for it. Man. I don't know what you want me to do.
Crazy lady here.
But it was just funny that they were so appreciative, and it was just a little. And man, as soon as you took a 1 sip off of your unsweet tea, it was filled back up.
That's
it was
great.
just, oh my gosh,
Family.
it was the greatest. Yeah, I think so.
See, you need to go. You need to put a pin cushion or a pin in a map somewhere. Make sure you remember that place, because I did this in Indiana. I went to this like little small town. It was kind of like a Marietta Square, except way smaller, like not as many buildings. Mm-hmm. And there only were like 50 people in this entire town. Mm-hmm. And I pulled up and I was like, I'm going to stay, because I used to like to drive back roads when I was coming home or going out to a golf event.
I love that too.
And I had the best time. These people were the nicest people. They all knew me. They're like, if you need a place to stay, you know, we got a little room for rent up here. And I was like, yeah, that'd be great. I'll stay over here tonight, And they were so sweet. Then I drove away and I came home. I was telling everybody the story, and they're like, where'd you go? And I was like, I don't know the name of the town. And then I couldn't remember the directions I went, where I went, how I ended up there, or any of it. And I wish I would have thought about it and put a little pin so I could go back.
I like the idea there's somewhere you can go where the whole townspeople wave goodbye.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Like in a movie.
Like you just really helped our entire lives.
Dude, I'm telling you, small towns are so important. I think small towns are amazing. They're just where it needs to be. And usually it's not rich people. It's usually just folks that are regular, normal. Maybe, I don't want to say, I'll just say they seem to do okay. But they're not setting the world on fire.
They have community.
Yes, that's right.
They have community,
which is more valuable than money.
We don't see community anymore, and we don't see communities anymore. Now it's like most people don't even know their neighbors. Where it used to be, you knew everybody down the block, you knew everybody around, and you had that community. And that's why I love that small town mindset.
There's just nothing better. It was just if there was anything about the whirlwind trip to Charleston and driving right back after moving my son out of his dorm after his freshman year, that was it.
Yeah.
That one stop made the whole trip worth it because of that community that you're describing. And look, it's sad because I believe that exists. I just saw it, so I know it exists. But you wouldn't see it on the news at night. You're not going to see it in places that that mainstream media cover, because mainstream media is not covering the little place in Indiana that you went to. They're not covering the little place in South Carolina that my family stopped on the way home. They're going to cover all the nonsense that's coming out of these stupid protests and all the craziness that's happening. But that's the thing that drives me crazy. I think like rich people, those are rich people issues. It really does seem.
Yeah, those are rich kids right there. That's exactly what it is. And I bet those people, though, I can almost imagine they don't want any of the press there. They don't want anybody there. Leave us alone. Leave our life. We only want people that are going to come in here and appreciate us and appreciate what we've done here in our community and can become a part of the community. And I love that. And there are small towns like that. Up in North Carolina, Edenton, it's a small town. Yeah. I love visiting there because every time I come there, they're like, hey,
what's
Scott, good. Thanks for coming back. And I love that, and I love meeting those kind of people and making friendships that'll probably last forever.
I really want to send you to like a small town bar for you to hang out for the weekend.
Like a roadhouse?
Yeah, but he'll have to clean it up though. You'll have to roll in. And by the time you leave, like the place is, respectable again.
Yeah, right.
You might have to change the town a little bit.
Dude, we had to leave the dorm respectable because it wasn't. I mean, it looked like four dudes lived in it.
I can't imagine what you found in that entire thing.
My poor wife on her hands and knees scrubbing toilets, and I was like, Lord, you got to stop. You got to stop. It's fine. She's like, they're gonna find us. They're gonna find us. This place is filthy.
Why didn't she make Jacob get down there and do that?
Because he and I were packing up and carrying everything to the car. Yeah, exactly. To prevent her from having to do it. But anyway. It's
find like some Cheetos from like 6 months ago under the bed.
Totally, all of it. Yes, and he was the last one. So,
Taco Bell wrappers in the corner.
Whoever's last has to clean up the mess, or at least the biggest portion of the mess. But anyway, Joe Biden did talk about things that matter less and less. It seems anything that Joe Biden has to say, I'm just uninterested in. But that's the thing. He's dividing himself up and trying to play both sides of every story, and that's what's playing out, and it's not going to work for him.
I mean, he's going to get praise from the speech yesterday, and to be honest, he got through it. He didn't make too many stumbles.
Yeah, listen to that bar. Here's where the bar is at. He got through it.
Yeah, he didn't mess up too much. That was nice. And he came out and he started off strong with, "Hey, I believe in everybody's right to protest, but you can't be violent about it." Blah 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 blah. And then I started seeing, especially with the Democrats, all putting up, "This is what a leader looks like." No, a leader goes out before this, 9 days after this starts, and curbs it before it becomes a problem. That's what a real leader does. The only reason he was out there yesterday, guys, was because Peter Doocy asked Karine Jean-Pierre, why has he been so silent on this?
Yeah. And the answer is because he's a slave to both masters. You can't go out and say, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing this," and then the flip side be like, "Oh, I'm actually in support of everything you're doing," because that's really what he's done. I mean, he's played both sides.
Well, this is our job. Stay out of it. Let them burn each other down.
Implode.
Because what you have is the new communists that have been, basically cultivated and taught on our American campuses, and then they look at these 70, 80-year-old communists and they go, "We want a communist harder and better than you." Yeah. And so these two factions are fighting each other. We should just watch it and enjoy it and just sit back and say, "I'm not going to get involved in that. I'm just going to watch you two people get angry at each other." Because no matter what he got up in front of the people and said, you're going to have the young people that are saying, "What do you mean we're not allowed to say these sort of things?"
Yeah, he was playing the game yesterday of, I'm going to be nice to everybody, hey, don't be anti-Semitic, like, to their face, and don't be Islamophobic because, I need their votes, like, hey, help me out here. And that's what it seemed like more than anything else. But this group doesn't care. They want destabilization.
Of course.
They want defunding of police. They want demilitarization. That's what they are. They are anarchists. And they have sucked these kids in, these college kids who are on the campus who think it's like some kind of genocide when it's not. They've fallen into a trap.
Well, they are the foot soldiers of the regular communist, and the problem is they've now grown up. And you can't control them anymore.
No, that's right. Yeah, not like little kids. They've been treated with everybody gets a trophy, and now they want their trophy. And they're fighting for it.
Well, we could actually, get them to change, but that would require actual people at those universities to stand up and actually give them the consequences and stand by the consequences. But we're not going to see that.
No.
We don't keep them in jail for more than, 24 hours. We don't, or even 24 hours is a lot. They're usually out way before then. We then go back and go, well, I mean, yes, you can still graduate. Why? Why do they deserve it? You're more than welcome to do whatever you want on that campus. You're more than welcome to murder someone. Unfortunately, you are going to pay the price. So the same thing here. You break the law, you break the rules, you're going to pay the price. I hope we hold it to it.
I hope so, too. There is one university, we'll talk about it a little later in the show, maybe about 6:45 or so. There is one university that's pushing back just a little bit. It makes you happy to see. But, of course, that's in a southern state. Wonder how the southern states always get it right. When we come back at Extra 106.3, he cried. I wouldn't have cried. A little bit of fun. Next on the Morning Extra. on Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station. The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's Tug, and here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
This student rampage on college campuses across the country defies any rational explanation. This is mass hysteria based on complete ignorance.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
Some good news for you if you want your house painted, if you want that roof to be firm, that roof to not leak, if you want that home to be just like it needs to be. Your castle, maybe it's the windows that are, leaky. Maybe they allow a lot, single pane, a lot of those houses built in the 90s, single pane windows, and it's time to make them more energy efficient. Gutters, maybe your gutters are just beat all to pieces. Then you get new gutters, right? Where do you get them, though? Because a lot of contractors, you hire them, they come do their job, and on the surface, it looks good, and then you start running into the problems afterwards. After a few days after they're gone, maybe a week after they're gone, and you call them back, and man, getting them back out to your house is almost impossible. You can say goodbye to those days. Southern Exteriors, they have an in-house warranty division, and they've been serving Metro Atlanta for over 20 years. Not just Metro Atlanta, but also the southeastern United States. They're big enough to take on every project. And they'll have a foreman, a dedicated foreman on site for you. So any questions you have, they can take care of it for you. Anything that shows up a couple days or even a week later, they can take care of it for you. How do you get a hold of them? Call them at 8779-SOUTHERN or visit them on the web, southernexteriors.co at southernexteriors.co.
Help Special Olympics Georgia cheer on the Flame of Hope as it makes its way to Emory University for the 2024 Special Olympics Georgia State Summer Games. The Flame of Hope will be escorted by the local law enforcement torch run officers. Be on the lookout for the torch run going through Atlanta and ending at the opening ceremony for the Summer Games on May 24th. Want to get involved? Support a Special Olympics Georgia athlete today by adopting a duck at duckrace.com/Atlanta. All proceeds will help provide meals and housing for the Georgia athletes. That's duckrace.com/Atlanta.
Looking for bold discussions on vital issues? Tune in to the Janelle King Show every Saturday at 3 p.m. with an encore episode every Sunday at 9 a.m. right here on Extra 106.3, where we dive into kitchen table topics that are essential for a strong republic. Don't miss an episode, but if you do, it's all good because we have new podcasts that drop every Tuesday on the Podcast Park or wherever you get your podcasts. Don't miss out on these thought-provoking conversations.
Senior Consultant, PSO, omnifunctional positions offered by Manhattan Associates Incorporated in Atlanta, Georgia. Senior technical point of contact throughout the implementation of multiple supply chain solutions software packages. Provides senior level design for client-specific enhancements. Up to 50% domestic and international travel required. Employee reports to office in Atlanta, Georgia. Position may work from home but must live within commuting distance of stated office. Apply online at www.manh.com/about-us/careers.
Tax season can be stressful, but it's also a wake-up call. It's time to think beyond April and plan for your future. At Master Plan Retirement Consultants, we're not just advisors, we're your partners in building a secure retirement. At Master Plan Retirement Consultants, we understand the challenges Georgians face. That's why we offer personalized strategies to maximize your retirement income, minimize taxes, and ensure you never outlive your assets. Join the Master Plan family and let us guide you through every financial milestone. Visit masterplanretire.com to schedule your appointment today. Master Plan Retirement Consultants, where your journey and destination are both important. Visit masterplanretire.com to schedule your complimentary consultation today.
Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
It took 100 years, but finally there's a conservative voice you can trust. Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
Make sure you have that Extra 106.3 app so you can listen live and on demand. That is the sweet spot. That's the way you know you have that flexibility that you're looking for. You can do it now. You can do it later. however you want to listen, it is available for you. Los got a big weekend planned. A lot of volleyball.
For the upcoming national volleyball tournament we have in Dallas, they have these dress-up days. Like when we're down in Florida, they have a Hawaiian shirt day, and so you'll wear like a Hawaiian shirt or stuff like that. So they have like the second day is called Cowboy Chic. It's in Dallas, right? And so I started looking up this particular outfit with the bolo tie and the vest and the cowboy hat. And I showed it to my wife last night, and she was disgusted with me. And
why?
I'm just saying that I'm going to play this thing up. I'm going to wear Cowboy Chic. Like, if there was an overalls day, you would wear the overalls. You'd rock them all day.
Yeah.
So if you're telling me there's a dress-up day at Nationals, because there's a lot of stress. It's very frustrating to watch the girls play that level and not be freaked out. So I try and lighten the mood a little bit.
I like it.
The cowboy hat, the bolo tie.
It looks like
big old belt buckle.
Red Dead Redemption or whatever the name of that video game was. Like
Red Dead Redemption?
Yeah, that's a badass outfit. I mean, the vest is super cool.
It's like it's a fake suede.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. It's like a light brownish grayish fake suede with a dark brown cowboy hat, a big old belt buckle with a steer on the front, and a bolo tie with a steer.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So I think that's perfect for Cowboy Chic. That's what I'm going to go with when we...
Don't listen to her. She don't know.
She asked me, she's like, what do you spend on this thing? I go, it's like $36. She goes, it looks like $36.
Come on. No, it doesn't. It looks like $1 million.
Last year they had tutus.
Yeah.
And I wore one. I was the only dude rolling around in a tutu, but I was wearing a tutu.
Can you get a holster with like 2 fake 6-shooters?
See, I thought about that too.
That'd be cool.
Like a pair of chaps with a pair of 6. But again, I don't know. Cowboy Chic.
Yeah.
A lot of it looks like if you were to look up, like,
it's true.
Get on your Google machine or get on your DuckDuckGo and look up Cowboy Chic. This is not the working man's cowboy. All right, this is not what Rhino looks like when he's on the ranch and doing work.
Right.
This looks like when you're going out and you're trying to look nice as a cowboy.
Yes.
But it doesn't look cowboy at all.
Like you're going to a nice dinner. Like in Dallas, Fort Worth, like you're going out for a nice dinner after like getting all the cattle back down the street. Let's go.
I would say that if you were a gay cowboy, that's what Cowboy Chic looks like.
Okay, that's fair.
That's more along the lines of what it would look. It's very flamboyant cowboy. So that's kind of what I'm going for.
Like when, what's his name? Little Nas? Isn't that his name?
It's like Little Nas X. Okay.
Yeah, with
like
the black and the sparkles. I mean, he made that super gay.
Like I'm looking at it right now. That's Cowboy Chic.
Yes.
Like that's shirtless, where it's like half camo, half like Texas flag on the sleeve.
I love that the sleeveless vest. Yo, you should roll with the sleeveless vest.
Look, that's Cowboy Chic. Where look, it's got cats on it.
Kitty cats.
Yeah. Again, that's it. Again, that doesn't look like
that's
strong
a tug
cowboy
shirt right there.
Now
Tell me that's not a tug shirt.
That is a total tug shirt.
Screenshot that and put that up on the Twitters and ask people. That's a tug shirt right
It
there.
has a pair of cats, like on kind of like just off the lapels. It's like almost on the chest, half on the shoulder, and both cats have cowboy hats and like the cowboy scarf, like it's kind of like a rugged cat. This is going to be kind of perfect.
A cowboy scarf.
Yeah, you know, the cowboys will wear the scarf because they'll pull it over their face because when you're cattle driving,
it's a bandana.
Yeah, but when you're cattle driving, and I wouldn't expect you to know anything about this, Joe, because you've never been on a cattle drive, you've never been to Fort Worth or anything else. But when you're on a cattle drive, there's a lot of dirt and there's a lot of dust.
Yep.
So you have your bandana, your cowboy scarf, that way you can pull it up over your face so that you can breathe and you don't have to take in all the dirt.
Yeah, they make the gators now, they call them, that do the same thing. But yeah, I like the old bandana look better. I used to collect bandanas like crazy. I'm thinking about doing it because now that I keep ripping my jeans with like chainsaws and all the other stuff, and when I'm like using my axe or working on the house in North Carolina, I keep ripping my jeans, and I'm like, I think I'm just going to get like some of those bandanas, the cheap ones, and sew them over the holes now.
What if I would...
Cool look.
Could you imagine if I spent... See, like a bandana, you can get a bandana for like $2.
Yeah,
okay? Like, okay, got a couple bucks. Here's what. If I come home... and my wife ends up saying, did you really spend $45.69 on a Western cow cat shirt?
That's the greatest shirt I've ever seen, though.
I mean, it is pretty... I'm going to post this, and I'll put it to a poll.
Yeah.
And be like, and I'll give a couple of Cowboy Chic options and say, which one should I wear at Nationals? And again, I'm going to allow you, because I'll take pictures. I don't hide from this stuff.
No.
I'm like, here's the ridiculous outfit I'm wearing on.
Absolutely. We had Pickle Rick up here.
Yeah, I wore Pickle Rick up here. I have no problem with this.
One of my favorite pictures.
I went looking to try and find a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle outfit for you.
Yes.
And I tried to find a Batman costume.
That'd have been great.
But it turns out it was like a Batman figurine costume. Like it wasn't the full Batman suit.
I mean, I'm short, but not that short.
No, and that's what I thought too. I was like, this will not fit me. But again, you and I have talked about it. If you give me a good costume, you and I will wear it. We don't have shame with this stuff.
Yeah, I'd wear any costume anywhere, anytime.
And most of the time, people are not even up here by the time that we're almost finishing up. Like when we're leaving, the office is starting to fill up.
Exactly. I wouldn't wear like the pro Hamas costume that these kids are wearing right now, pretending who they are. Thing. I don't know if I do like. I don't know if I do a cross-dressing thing.
I can't dress you as terrorist chic.
No.
That's where he draws the line.
Yeah. What is terrorist chic?
You look like you're in the Taliban.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, I draw the line at Taliban.
Like it's a really nice vest with explosive tucked away nicely in nice pockets?
Yeah, my line is Taliban /KKK.
Yeah.
All right. That's like my line. Dr. Fauci lab coat. Okay, like these are all the ones that I would not wear.
Not a bedazzled suicide vest.
No, none of those things. I'm not going to do that. Yeah, anything that conjures up like 1930s, 1940s Germany. Yeah, I'm not wearing that outfit either.
No.
These are things that I will say no. These are not going to happen. Speaking of what's actually though happening, you do have the LA Police Department as it started probably about 45 minutes ago. They moved in to get the encampment out at UCLA, and as we talked about, do it professionally. They were slowly removing all the plywood, all the mess that's on campus,
man.
And you had the protesters that seem to have dispersed. Doesn't seem like you've had any. I'll just say this: for as much as you and I've been watching, we haven't seen anybody swing anything.
No,
we haven't. It's more of just like we moved in, we told you to leave. You all left. And that's the goal with all this stuff, because the globalists want a confrontational environment. That's what we've been talking about for the better part of 6 months. And that, at least as of right now, is not happening.
No, and the faculty's out there, and they are wearing hard hats, and they're blocking the entrance to and standing with some of the students, but they are all being arrested at this point. They did deploy flashbangs, which was very effective, because that's where they wanted to get. Once they got past the plywood, once they got everybody's umbrellas out of their hands, it was time to flashbang and tear gas, and that's what they're at right now. And a lot of the kids have dispersed. They have been moving. It was funny. I was telling Carlos earlier that I was watching on one of the video streams, and I've been watching streams from all over. They were pulling a piece of plywood, and there was a young girl still attached to the backside. They didn't know.
She's holding the back end of it.
It was really cool.
Well,
they arrested her then.
This is where we talk about the importance of not having some sort of scene. Because 2020, you had the scene.
Yeah.
You had St. George Floyd, who ended up being monumentalized throughout the country. A man who was wildly filled with methamphetamines and fentanyl. But whatever. Hey, it's not like he died from the hands of a police officer.
No.
But they had that iconic moment. And that created a fervor. And that created this movement that caused people to say, well, like I think about Mitt Romney when he was marching with BLM. BLM is a socialist communist organization.
Yes.
I mean, they talk about being trained Marxists, that's who they are. They don't believe in Israel's right to exist. And so here's Mitt Romney to show that I'm down with the struggle. I'm going to march with you guys. They're trying to create that kind of a moment right now. That's what they want.
Yeah.
If you don't give it to them, you can't get it. And so all these people are waiting for that sort of moment they want to create. And fortunately, with all the police officers throughout the rest of this country, with what they've been doing, you haven't had that moment on one of these campuses, a Kent State sort of moment.
No, and I don't think you will. I mean, I think police are doing and being very careful. Earlier this morning, they went to get involved with the crowd. The crowd started acting up. They backed off and let them calm down. And now they're going in, and everything seems to be working in the right direction, and they're starting to get these kids out in front of the school. But again, this is not about the Gaza Strip. This is not about the Palestinian people. This isn't even about Israel. This is about law enforcement. When I watched yesterday, I watched a lot of the videos and the streaming of some of the press conferences that these children are holding, because that's what they're acting like, is children. And one of the girls who, of course, she had her keffiyeh around her face, and she obviously was not Middle Eastern at all. And she went on to tell everybody that this is more than just asking for divestment from Israel. We're actually asking for, and we're proving that these cops in UCLA, in Los Angeles, have always been targeting black and brown people. That was the message that she put out there. She didn't talk about anything that had to do with the Middle East.
No, of course not. And that's the bigger picture here. This is about destroying a pillar of your society, just as they were able to do in 2020. Think about the damage that did. Think about the long-term damage of defund the police. And who did it hurt? It hurt minority communities in typically in lower income areas. The crime has gone insane. And yet you had these politicians that thought, oh my God, these people, they're pushing for less police, so let's give them less police. That is where you saw the impact of your vote and the impact of this momentum that was caused by these sort of things. And again, too, this takes away from what we should really be getting into, which is we don't have a border that's currently being taken care of, and our government is printing and spending at such a crazy rate that I'm having to figure out how to pay for groceries on a regular basis. This is all the catnip. This is all, here, watch this. Look at all this craziness going on. Yeah. But just don't talking about what we're spending.
Yeah, stop talking about what the government's doing. I mean, I'm sure the House and the Senate are sitting back on, love this. We could probably pass a bunch of stuff. No one will pay attention.
Look at them fight with each other. That's perfect.
Yeah, this is perfect. Let them continue to fight. Let's keep letting them do this. But the problem also is that, look how many police are out there. How many people in LA right now need the police to be dealing with emergencies, or maybe some of the worst days of their lives or mornings of their lives going on because police are not able to respond to 911 calls at this time. This is a very selfish, childish movement. They're going to continue on this. They're not going to leave. They're not going anywhere. They are about to be out of school. They'll use the whole summer. You think that this is going to be another 2020 summer? This is what they are going to do. It's just going to transition from the campuses to now the streets, and that's where the problems are going to start to become really big and escalate to the point where they're going to be able to get the police to look in a bad light.
Well, it's going to pull away from the whole student thing because every single one of these situations, whether it's been in Austin, New York, and now we'll have this in LA, every single time that you have a number of people are arrested, we've been able to say a majority of them are not students at the university.
Yeah.
And many of them, when you look at them, you go, that ain't student age people. Like, these are adults that are here to cause trouble. These are your professional agitators. And so I'll be curious to see what happens with UCLA. Are there more students than not? But typically, if you just go by what happened in Austin, you had 77 arrests. I believe there was only 30-some of them were actually students there.
Yeah.
It's an overwhelming majority. And think about what happened over with the New York Police Department. They roll through, they take care of things at Columbia, and then those people roll right back onto campus hours later.
Yeah.
It's got to be frustrating when you create the scenario where you have to put together that kind of manpower to do this sort of stuff, and then you can't enforce your laws so that these people go right back on the street.
That's the scary part to me, is that we continue to allow they should lock all these kids up, every single one of them. And the kids that are supposed to be there, they should be there. They can protest, but that's not what they're doing. They're not standing out on the quad with their little signs.
But I think it's a misnomer when you say these kids.
Well, yeah.
The majority of them are adults,
that's
professional agitators.
Right, that's what I'm saying, though. I'm saying get rid of those, arrest them all, get them out. The kids that are supposed to be there, talk to them about where they're supposed to be, but they're not in the right area. It would be different if these kids who were students were standing out there with signs. It's not students, it's not kids. They're setting up these zones because they know that. And the kids that are getting involved in this, they need to be arrested too. And their record should prove and show what kind of idiots these kids were when they're young. I would love to know, if I'm hiring someone, whether they participated in something like this. I don't want it. I don't need it. And your education does nothing for me. I don't care where you went to school. You're a problem. And these people are problems to the entire society.
Go through it. Pull it up. It's interesting to look at. When you see the mugshots of these people, oftentimes you're going to say, that ain't an 18 to 21-year-old.
No.
It's not. Okay, like that's who's rolled in here,
and they're not Middle Eastern either.
No, of course not.
They're not Palestinians.
But then you have, and I forgive me, I've got to look up the name again. It's Lillian or Fithian. Anyway, this is a woman who is 70 years old, who's out of Austin, Texas, and she gets sent to these hot zones where these things are happening. She's a professional agitator. She was one of the people they profiled in Mother Jones, which, as we all know, not a very far-right website at all, people, okay? Like, she was a hero on Mother Jones.
Yeah.
And they were profiling her for what she did with Occupy Wall Street, how she rolled in and helped everybody figure out how to do this, because I've been doing these sort of things since the 1970s. She was in New York. She was leading the stuff at Columbia. This is not a student thing.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
All right, here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Friday, May 3rd. Electric vehicle maker Rivian will be receiving $827 million in subsidies to support expansion at their Illinois plant to build the new R2 vehicle. The R2, a two-row vehicle, is a crossover that was supposed to have been launched here in Georgia after the state gave the company $1.5 billion in incentives to build a plant near Rutledge. Although Rivian has paused construction of the plant, they say they still plan to have it up and running by 2030. Cherokee County Sheriff's Office arrested 27-year-old Parth Patel after he tried to scam an 80-year-old woman from Cherokee County out of $200,000 worth of gold. Investigators say Patel is a lower-level associate in a much larger criminal organization based out of the UK and India. Deputies say scammers claim they worked with the U.S. Treasury and convinced her to buy $100,000 worth of gold. After she did that, they called again and convinced her to buy $200,000 worth of gold and meet in person. This time, the police were there to intercept and arrest the scammer. And in sports, Georgia head coach Kirby Smart becomes the first $13 million a year coach in football. Smart received a new 10-year, $130 million deal that was approved by university officials on Thursday. Smart could also earn up to $1.5 million in bonuses.
Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. When we continue, a pro-Hamas protester is upset that there are consequences for her actions. Imagine that. Next on the Morning Extra, Tug Rhino and Lowe's until 10. The Kimmer Show is only on Extra 106.3 every weekday afternoon on your drive home.
Which party has their hands in every aspect of your life, from birth to death? The Democrats.
And it's gotten worse. Look at everything. $5 a gallon. I mean, wars, protests.
Telling you what car you can drive and what you have to have an electric car in the next 30 years. You got to do this. You can't have a gas oven anymore.
That's right.
I mean, every aspect of your life, they're telling you what to do.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Chuck from Central Heating and Air Conditioning just wants to thank you for trusting them with your heating and air conditioning and home performance needs. If you're in the market for a new Carrier system, they can take care of it. They can give you 0% financing or like $1,700 off a new Carrier system, the best in the business, working with the best in the business at Central Heating and Air Conditioning. You see, they've been in Atlanta for 77 years. They've been around so long. They are your Atlanta company when it comes to that kind of thing, because there's a lot of companies that say they're Atlanta based, and a lot of them have been bought out by big, huge companies and no longer are Atlanta based, but they still have that Atlanta name. They still try to capitalize on being a local company, even if it's not the truth. But at Central Heating and Air Conditioning, you're not just a number, you're a member of the family. It's been that way since 47, and it'll continue that way forevermore. Central Heating and Air Conditioning can fix what ails your house and possibly your family's health too, with home ventilation and air quality products. This time of year, it's so important that the air you breathe be pure. Central has packages designed around health, using variable speeds, fresh air ventilation, air cleaners, air purifiers, dehumidifiers, and more. So check out 770-GET-HEAT or centralheat.com, their website or their number. Just give them a call if you need maintenance, if you need a new system, or you want the air in your house to be pure and clean. Central Heating and Air Conditioning, 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com.
This is Dan Watkins with All Four Seasons. We've always been Atlanta's best at installing and servicing garage and entry doors, but you would be surprised at how many windows we've installed as well. So we're proud to announce a new division, All Four Seasons Windows. We now have the ability to make sure every opening in your house is safe, energy efficient, and looks darn good. So give us a call today to schedule your free sales consultation. Find out how you can decrease your energy bills and increase the beauty and value of your home with All Four Seasons garage, entry doors, and windows.
Marketing is everywhere. From the billboards on the highways to the notifications on your phone, we are constantly bombarded with people trying to sell us stuff. What makes good marketing? Are you doing enough in your life personally and professionally to market yourself? You have questions, and the Marketing Madmen have answers. Tune in every Saturday, now at 4 p.m., right here on Extra 106.3 to get practical marketing advice from expert guests who are shaping and reshaping the business world. They say marketing is a madman's game. Join the Marketing Madmen every Saturday at 4 p.m. to find out why.
The Angie's List you know and trust is now Angie, and we're so much more than just a list. We still connect you with top local pros and show you ratings and reviews, but now we also let you compare upfront prices on hundreds of projects and book a service instantly. We can even handle the rest of your project from start to finish. So remember, Angie's List is now Angie, and we're here to get your job done right. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Senior Principal Support Analyst, CSO, Omni positions offered by Manhattan Associates Incorporated in Atlanta, Georgia. Senior Project Manager responsible for overseeing the coordination of all aspects of new customer modifications and rollout from inception to installation. Oversee schedules and budgets to ensure quality products and timely services. Up to 50% travel required. Employee reports to office in Atlanta, Georgia. Position may work from home but must live within commuting distance of stated office. Apply online at www.manh.com/about-us/careers.
My name's Jeff Criswell. I'm running for U.S. House of Representatives, Georgia's 6th District. I'm a Republican. I'm very conservative. I'm sort of a middle-of-the-road kind of person, which I think in Georgia District 6 is really going to work to my advantage because it's a very diverse district. You know, if you ask me right now, the big issue is immigration. Also, the cost of living. My goodness. The numbers are crazy. It's so much more expensive now to live, to go buy groceries, to buy gas. We've got to do something about the cost of living, and I believe that all of that is linked to the national debt, which would be my third sort of an issue here. We've got to stop spending money that we don't have. The reason I think people should vote for me is because I am brand spanking new to this business. I am going to bring a very new perspective to this. Go over to jeffcriswell.com. That's Jeff Criswell, CRISWELL.com. Hit that donate button. Help us out. By all means, we want to partner with you because we can win this district.
This message is paid for by Jeff for Georgia 6. Keep up with all of our shows and the latest headlines by following Extra 106.3 on Instagram, X, Facebook, Truth Social, and all your social media platforms. Plus exclusive giveaways and more. So follow now at XTRA 106.3.
When we do something, there's consequences for us. Sometimes the consequences are bad. Look, if you do something good, then good will follow. You do something that deserves punishment, and that usually happens too. If you're raising kids, that's the way it works. If you're in an office, that's the way it works. Now, if you're a college student and you're out there raising Cain, acting a fool, and all of a sudden you get caught up in all this, the protests that are going on, and you're involved in it, and let's say you planned it, it makes you chuckle just a little bit when you get an email that says, oh, by the way, you've been suspended and you're not going to graduate.
Then released a statement attempting to lie to paint the protesters as the ones who escalated this violence. This is a lie. James. Several SDS members subsequently received emails that they had been suspended and falsely accused them of carrying weapons and creating an unsafe environment.
So I'm like the dude on the motorcycle, man. I'm just
revving it up.
I'm just driving right away because I don't have time to listen to her. Because the University of South Florida down in Tampa, they had a chaotic day. 300 protesters. This woman, part of it, they had to use tear gas and arrest 10 people. So it got violent, and now somebody's being held responsible, being held accountable. And they don't like it, Rhino.
Well, here's the problem, okay? She named off a bunch of people who supported this, including herself, who is part of the Students for Palestine, blah, blah, blah. She was told that, don't worry, we got your back. If you get arrested, here's how you do this. Here's how you destabilize. Here is how you create chaos. And then we got your back. And don't worry, the school will never do anything to you. And the schools are doing things. And this is part of your consequences. Again, you're more than welcome to stand up there. You're more than welcome to do all this stuff. You do have to suffer the consequences.
Culpability is fun.
Yes, it is.
And I think that's what I'm enjoying the most out of this, because it's not everywhere. There are people that are released within hours, and it's just how it's going to be. And you have a whole lot of adults that are taking part in this, and they're getting to use the kids as the excuse. It's not. You have a majority of these people that are showing up on campus and doing this stuff are adults. But when you do have a student who happens to be part of the planning, and it does get out of hand where you have to bring in the tear gas and everything else, sorry, baby girl, you're just going to have to skip the whole graduation thing.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me at all, man. I actually think it's great. I think it's wonderful. She shouldn't be able to graduate. She should be suspended. That's what would happen to you and I if we were to do something like this. You know what? Yesterday, on the way home, I thought I was going to get pulled over for speeding. Thought I was.
Yeah.
And we'd have passed the cop. I was like, this could go either way. And I slowed down, and thankfully, it didn't happen. However, if he would have pulled me over, I was going to get a ticket.
Yeah.
It's the way it works.
You weren't going to throw things at him and claim racism or you just hate Dalton? No? Yeah, that's what these kids want to do. But I like what you said earlier in the show when you talked about the participation trophy, because I said the same thing the other day to some friends. Yeah. I go, this all had to start with the participation trophy thing.
Think you're right.
Everybody thinks that I just get whatever I want, whenever I want. I don't have to earn it, and that's the way this is going to go, and that's the way she feels. They're doing it at UGA, too. There are 2 students that got suspended that organized the event, that were part of the problem when they were blocking buildings. The rest of them were pretty peaceful. That's why they didn't get arrested. And now they're upset that they might miss their graduation. Uh-oh, too bad. That's just the way it is.
Well, there are levels here. For instance, we have some TVs outside that we could stream to the entire sales staff. And if we were to do some twerking video and it makes some people laugh, well, no big deal.
Right.
Hey, guys, would you please take down the twerking video?
Yeah.
If it cost $1 million sale,
sure,
because somebody who was in this office
changes the dynamic,
saw what happened and went, I'm not working with you guys. Y'all a bunch of clowns. Changes the dynamic. Once it gets out of hand on campus, that's different than, hey, we are observing your rights to say what you want and to protest in the way that you want to in a peaceful manner. Once you have to bring in the tear gas and everything else, okay, that changes the math on this stuff.
Yeah, and then this is why we do our twerking videos here in studio on our screen.
Just in case.
Just in case. I love what's happening, though, and I love that people are fighting back against these guys. I love the kids from Ole Miss.
Me too.
And the good part is, it started with UNC and the guys grabbing that flag, and then the other frat boys said it, saw it, and then at Ole Miss it follows, and it's going to follow in other Southern schools.
Rutgers, too.
Yep.
Rutgers, surprisingly.
Yeah, and I love that. Yeah, Rutgers is a mess, too. And it was a surprise to see those people. But, up in New York, again, that's New York, New Jersey area. They're getting fed up with all the Democrats up there, so they're starting to see, and so are these young kids. It was very encouraging to see the Ole Miss kids out there. And boy, that's the way to do it. You know what you do? You don't bring out, because you can't bring out, you can bring out, bangers, and you can bring out little megaphones, but you can't bring out loudspeakers. But drown them out with the national anthem.
That's right, man. There's nothing.
Drown them out with the F Joe Biden and USA and Trump, Trump, Trump. I love it.
Is there anything that has been more encouraging about the future of America than Ole Miss and North Carolina? I mean, those kids give me hope that, look, that there's something that there's worth fighting for, and they see that it's worth fighting for.
But it validates what we've been talking about, the trend that's happening in America. Young men are going more conservative. Young women are going more liberal. And so that's going to be interesting for the rest of our society, how that's going to play out, because you're going to have these two factions of, hey, why am I attracted to these conservative men? Because I can't stand them.
Yeah. Right.
And you're going to have conservative men going, man, she wants like 10 cats.
Right.
And wants to tell me about how to live my life.
No
it's going to create a little bit of a weirdness of a wedge in society.
He'll get a farm. He'll be like, you know what, we'll live on, if we can live on a farm and live like a real life, then yeah, come on. I'm not living in a fantasy apartment, with you. I was very encouraged by it, because it really did remind me that this is a tyrannical minority that is doing the damage, and it is the Antifa movement that is putting this all together. And then you see a crowd like that and you realize there are a lot more people who will fight for this country than fight against this country.
Certainly, and feels like that. And when you see it, especially with in the midst of all the chaos, to fight back then, too. It takes us, I don't know, maybe it's bravery, maybe it's just patriotism. I don't know what it is.
It's patriotism.
But you have to be brave to get out there, too.
Oh, yeah.
Because these people are going to be shouting you down. They're going to be screaming at you. But, when you and your whole fraternity are out there, maybe a group, strength in numbers. I don't know.
Yeah.
It feels that way.
It's just fun to see where here's 4 or 5 activists, and they look really much like activists. And then they're like regular, healthy Americans, and here's what they're telling you.
Yeah, right. It's something to hang your hat on, something to feel encouraged by on a Friday. President Trump's reaction to the bombshell recording that describes how the CIA undermined his presidency. Next, on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3.
Hey, it's the Kimmer. Look out. The Kimmer Show is live every afternoon from 3 to 6, just like the Kimmer. If you have to define if a president was actually behaving in what he thought was his legitimate presidential duties, then I think clearly he should have immunity for those presidential duties. The problem is, what are those? What do they include? They don't include him, killing his secretary with an ashtray to the head because he got ticked off at her for spilling ink on the carpet. You know what I mean? So clearly there's some delineation of something, but there's got to be immunity for a president. Otherwise, there's no way he could operate. I mean, although again, we saw Michael Cohen's. Didn't he have tape recordings of his secret conversations as a lawyer with Donald Trump that he revealed? You can now have your lawyer tell what he told his client in secret.
If Monica Lewinsky claimed that Clinton raped her in the Oval Office.
Yeah, there you go. The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
It's officially May in the A, and the Atlanta Braves have an exciting month of 5 great matchups and 4 free giveaways. Like on May 15th when the Cubs are in town. The first 15,000 fans will receive a Michael Harris II chain giveaway presented by Coca-Cola. Then the Padres come to town the 17th through the 20th, and fans can also enjoy the incredible pre- and post-game entertainment in the Battery Atlanta. Visit Braves.com/promos for more details on all of the fun this month. Atlanta Braves baseball. We are Braves country.
Hey Atlanta, it's Ben, host of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show, proudly brought to you by Peach State Pride. Each and every weekend, we bring you all the issues going on around the globe and what America's ultimate role is in order to drive our agenda forward as conservatives. And if you ever miss an episode, you can download everything I've ever done on Apple, Spotify, or you can go to the podcast park. See you around, Atlanta.
Join A Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Madelon and host Tug Coward for the weekly radio show Back Your Blue. They will highlight special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. Tune in on Saturdays or catch up on all past episodes wherever you get your podcasts or at thepodcastpark.com.
No one plans on going to jail, but when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds, where we believe everyone deserves a second chance. Whether your loved one's been arrested in Cherokee, Clayton, or any of the other metro Atlanta counties in between, A Second Chance Bail Bonds works fast to help expedite release within hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT or online at atlbail.com.
Media Minute with Howard Kurtz.
Finally, President Biden yesterday spoke out against the violent student protests. I've been saying this for a couple of weeks, but now he was under pressure from the media, from his own party, and added an unscheduled speech. Destroying property is not peaceful protest, said the president. It's against the law. Vandalism, trespassing, breaking windows, shutting down campuses, forcing the cancellation of classes and graduations. There should be no place on any campus, no place in America for anti-Semitism or threats of violence against Jewish students. Now, was that so hard? Why could he not have said that a week ago, days ago? At the same time, every time you mention anti-Semitism, do you have to then throw in Islamophobia and discrimination against Palestinians and others? Well, at least he said it. He tried to be balanced, and finally he found his voice. With your Media Minute, Howie Kurtz, Fox News.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. This hour is presented by Van Sant Law, vansantlaw.com.
Another encampment cleared at another college campus. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. It happened just in the last hour. At New York University, where NYPD officers arrived around 6 a.m., Fox's Molly Lyons there in Manhattan.
They came equipped with their helmets, batons, moved very quickly through this encampment. The people were rising, getting out of their tents, and in less than a half an hour, they have basically moved all of the people back all the way through down this walkway next to the Paulson Center and out the back of this kind of narrow alleyway between two buildings. The tents, of course, left behind, all of the rubbish and the signs and the things here as they've created kind of a line here. But the people that had been in these tents that were roused when the officers arrived have essentially been moved out to the back of this area.
Now, the day after, it took police hours to clear out an encampment at UCLA, clashing with student protesters. President Biden spoke out against violence in the anti-Israel encampments.
There's the right to protest, but not the right to cause chaos.
Also saying we can't tolerate hate speech and threats against Jewish students. Former President Trump will soon return to court in New York City as his first criminal trial resumes, the day after the jury heard his voice in testimony. Fox's Eric Shawn was there.
It was a dramatic moment late yesterday afternoon here at Manhattan Criminal Court as the voices of Trump and Michael Cohen echoed in the cavernous courtroom. Secret recordings made between the two that Cohen made on his iPhone's voice memo app 2 months before the November presidential election in 2016. Trump can be heard talking about paying with cash for the deal to silence Playboy playmate Karen McDougal's claims of their affair. But the defense will point out there is no mention of the alleged conspiracy to influence the election, and they can also claim it was a standard non-disclosure agreement that he was making.
The former president's charged with falsifying records and pain is to keep Stormy Daniels quiet. America's listening to Fox News.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself.
Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95 and comes with our Feel Better or Your Money Back guarantee. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Start your day with live and local conservative talk with Tug, Rhino, and Carlos Medina on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3.
Thank God it's Friday. Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra.
I love Friday.
That's the understatement of the day, right
Such
there.
a great day.
The smile on your face says it all, too,
I'll
man.
be honest, like last night I was going to bed, I'm like,
It's Friday.
you know what? It's Friday tomorrow.
God bless America. God bless America. But the smile was like it was like a Cheshire cat smile, like super big. Love that.
So we've got games going on a Friday.
Yeah.
So Rhino has taken our show from YouTube and was casting it into our sister station studio.
The fan.
Yes.
So former Atlanta Falcon Brian Finneran came down the hall to find out why
like,
what are y'all jackasses doing?
That's exactly what he said. I was getting a 0FG, and he was like, "Which one of you jackasses put your show on in our studio?"
I forgot to put the captions on, so at least that way we can hear them see. And then they can see it.
And over on this left side TV, because we have two, what would you say, about 60-inch TVs that are sitting out in the middle of our hallway that face into our sales section. One of them currently has chimpanzee riding on a Segway with the corresponding song playing on a 10-hour loop.
I think it's great.
So we'll see how long it's going to take before, as a sales staff, listen, it's 7 o'clock on a Friday. They're not here for another hour and a half.
if they show up at
But
all.
whoever does get in is going to basically, this is where it's like a special kind of torture. It's not waterboarding.
No.
But it's something similar.
I could say, it doesn't bother me at all, man. I would be fine with that being on the TV all day. Now, I might have to turn the sound down. I will say the sound might get to me after a while. But just watching the loop of a chimpanzee on a Segway, that wouldn't bother me.
He's got a helmet on.
He's got a helmet on. He's dressed well.
That's right. He's wearing overalls. He's got a helmet on.
He's like those protesters that were running toward the cops wearing bicycle helmets and cut up Rubbermaid garbage cans, which we'll get to.
That's great.
I wonder when the police are looking at him and they're just, as they're seeing these guys run at him, they're like, that's not tactical.
They're not going anywhere.
This is not going to work for you.
These people have no training and they have no idea what they're doing, but funny nonetheless.
And those guys in their mind, they think it's like the movie 300. It's like, we're going to knock them down here.
That's right. Yeah. These police will have no chance, Rhino. They'll have no chance against us and our Rubbermaid garbage cans.
I never laughed so hard as I watched them coming around. I'm like, really? Those are they cut a Rubbermaid garbage can,
logo
and I was like, oh my god, it's still there. And I put up, these are basically LARPers. That's what they are.
I thought that was a great description.
Yeah, like
live action role players.
Yeah,
This is what they're doing.
Yeah, where's your foam sword, dummy? Like you guys gonna joust?
It did. You're right. It felt like LARPing. It felt like they were doing a reenactment of a battle, and one of them drew the card of I have to advance on the police.
Yeah,
and this is what I'm gonna do.
But at some point it has to kick in that's like it's not real, right? I mean, that's the live action role play.
Right about the time they got knocked on their ass and found out
and
it's
then
not real.
arrested, I guess.
Well, it was funny to watch him bounce and then like try to get under the rope, and then like other people that were like watching just like threw him back to the police.
Like
it was kind of like Roman gladiator. Like, no, get back in that ring and let that cop take you out.
So funny, man.
I love it.
You know what's crazy is I think Britney Spears is more sane than some of these campus protesters and more well put together. And she's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She actually wields like real weapons, like knives.
Exactly, yeah. At least she's trying.
I tried to warn you. I tried to warn a bunch of my friends. I was like, there's a reason why they have this conservatory on this person. She's crazy, man.
I've been saying it for many, many years because I have an aunt and whom I love very much that my mother had to get conservatorship over for, and now she's thankfully in a facility where she can.
But she would basically
be
be scantily clad, swinging knives around and stuff.
Not
putting
usually,
videos of herself out on the internet.
No, she. Can I like I don't want to bring the show down because this is a sad story.
I'm focusing more on Britney. Like just say she was doing Britney stuff.
Okay, yes, she was kind of. Not really, but kinda. But the crazy stuff, we'll call it the crazy stuff.
She's like, look at my breasts and look at these knives. Like, oh wow, we got problems here.
What a combination,
right?
Yeah.
But what a weird dare, right? It's like, check this out. And you're like, it's kind of hot.
Yeah.
And then she's like, but I want to cut you.
Yeah.
And she does.
And then she continues to do it. Yeah, then she continues to do it. It'd be different if it were just one time, like a one take.
I don't know. I'm still on the hot side.
Yeah.
But I do believe
a little blood doesn't scare me.
I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
But it is true. I didn't believe it when I first read about it, how she keeps knives all around the house and that she's...
Well, who doesn't do that?
Everyone worries about because she just likes taking them out and messing around with them.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah. But the difference, Rhino, is you're not crazy.
That's true.
She's certifiable crazy.
Hold on. Like, Rhino and I keep snacks around the house.
That's true.
Okay? Ain't nobody been cut by a Cheeto.
Right. Or a fruit slice.
But,
right.
But you slice
the candy fruit slice.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, it's like, oh, look, I've got grapes. Yeah. Watch out.
Yeah, no, but I'm thinking Rhino probably has like a couple pocket knives or a couple survival knives.
He's like, here we go, ready to go.
I got a knife right here. Let's go.
But that's like utility.
Yeah, no, but
she's got like 8-inch blades.
Yeah.
You know?
She looks like she belongs on Mortal Kombat or something.
Right.
With those ones with the hooks on the side.
Oh, yeah.
What are those called? Those like samurai looking knives.
Those are sais.
Is that what they're called?
Yes, I love the sai.
Yeah.
The sai is a great tool.
Goodness.
Well, but those are very dangerous. She shouldn't be playing with those. I don't
especially
think
half naked.
Yeah.
Because she's liable to nick something.
Well, I mean, it doesn't hurt my feelings at all. Let her do it. Like, I'm not going to get hurt watching from here on YouTube.
Right. I was like, let me hit the slow motion.
Yeah. Slow that down. Look at her crazy eyes.
Again. Yeah.
She's
so
still
crazy.
hot.
That's the thing, though. Like, it gets to a point where you now can look into their eyes and go, Uh-oh, what's about to happen? Yep. Those are crazy eyes.
Yeah, they are, man. Crazy eyes.
Stop it. Get some help.
There's there's a vacant look to people at times. And you just
Let me
like,
tell you,
oh.
she has it more often than not.
Oh, yeah.
No question about it.
I tried to be on her side for a little bit. I got confused by her
you were
body.
There, you were there to support her.
Well,
yeah, I mean,
but
yes.
and
then I was like, I'm trying to help her out here, but now I can't go further down this path.
I remember the very first time we talked about it.
Yeah, I was all in.
But in a normal situation, you're most likely right.
Yeah.
She's freaking crazy. I think she's she may be the outlier of the argument.
I mean, she's definitely crazy. I felt more bad about the person that was holding the conservatorship because I believe that's the person who drove her to be crazy and forced her to work so hard. It got and put her on pills and put her on pharmaceuticals that turned her even worse and never got the help that she needed. And now it's too far, man.
Yeah, he's that whole family is what a mess.
He's fine though. He got plenty of money.
Yeah, all of a sudden.
Yep,
he is just fine. Morning Extra at Extra 106.3. Donald Trump had an interesting reaction when he found out the CIA was working against him the whole time.
This is now a 48-hour story where James O'Keefe ended up having one of his, and you should just know, if there's an attractive woman who wants to sit down with you in Washington, D.C. and keeps asking you about your job.
Especially when you're not good enough to pull that girl.
Just know it's James O'Keefe.
Right.
Okay? Like, just understand they're connected to James O'Keefe. And so the video ended up having a CIA contractor who talked about all the stuff that the CIA and the NSA were doing to track Donald Trump, to spy on him, and to try and keep him from being president, and how they're planning on doing it again, and this is what they've been up to. And so James O'Keefe ends up putting that video out there. The CIA did not say that this person did not work for them, so there was that. Take a listen as James O'Keefe contacts President Trump, and Trump goes on the record. Now, he doesn't get into a whole lot of detail, but take a listen to what he said about the whole video.
Mr. President, your reaction to this videotape of the CIA individual talking about how the CIA directors withheld information from you.
Well, it's shocking to see how stupid somebody can be. If this guy's for real, you ought to get rid of him. CIA, Central Intelligence Agency. This is not an intelligent guy to be openly talking to a woman that walks up and starts asking him questions and talking that way. So he may be bragging or showing off to some young lady. I have no idea the conditions under which he spoke, but I'd get rid of him real fast. If he's for real, get rid of him.
He got swallowed.
The honey pot.
He didn't go after the organization. He was like, you got to get rid of this person. He ain't up to your standards. He knows what the organization is.
Of course.
He knows.
And I feel like all of us have a pretty good idea of what the CIA or just the intel community altogether is up to, Rhino. There's nothing that makes me feel comfortable, and that's what we said to the congressman when he came on. Oh gosh, what's his name? We just had him on.
Buddy Carter.
Buddy, thank you. Buddy Carter. That's when we were explaining to him, like, we don't trust and give me a reason to trust.
Yeah, there is no reason to trust, and more we get proof that we should not trust any of these three-letter agencies, especially when it comes to being an American citizen and them spying on you. That's why FISA is such a big deal to a lot of us going, hold on one second. They're not going to go after foreign actors. They're going to go after the people in America that are in the phone of the foreign actors, whether we know we're in their phone or not. And everything's sold. That's why we're so scared. And it was smart for him to just kind of lay back and not say CIA.
Right. Yeah, he played it smart.
Because, he knows he's going to have to deal with them at one point, and he knows that, hey, they took out Kennedy. I ain't messing around right now.
Well, I mean, these people, these intelligence
exactly
officials decided in 2015, 2016, I'm going to spy on your campaign. Mm-hmm. Like, he's got 8 years of knowing they're constantly tracking me. I mean, we even had the whole story once Eileen Cannon, the judge over in Florida, had the records reviewed and brought into the light of how, so wait a minute, you had the FBI basically transport the files by which they showed was at Mar-a-Lago, said, we brought our own, and then we took the pictures of those. You have the three-letter agencies constantly looking to set this guy up.
Yeah.
So, I get why he's like, you should get rid of this person. He doesn't fit your standard.
But the smart thing, though, is his reaction, because that's not... If this had been during his first administration or leading up to his first presidency, I don't think he would have been so restrained in his statement.
With you.
He's balanced. He's balanced
Yeah,
a little
word.
bit. And I don't know who is running that campaign idea, but even the other night, when you were out yesterday, we kind of talked about what was going on in Waukesha and his speech there. It was so tame compared to the Donald Trump that we're used to. And he hit the issues and he's doing what he needs to do to win this. And I think someone is behind the scenes saying, hey, enough with the rhetoric, he met with Ron DeSantis. He then gave a really, really impassioned, speech about the economy, about inflation, about why Joe Biden shouldn't be the president, and then he reacts properly to this.
I'm sorry, I didn't think about this until this very moment, and I thought about it last night about 7 o'clock, and in my mind I was like, I should go pull this, I should go get this, and then it just went out of my brain again. So Rhino and I, yesterday about 8 o'clock, 8:05, Donald Trump got up and did his regular thing. Before he went into the courtroom, he stood up in front of everybody. And Rhino and I were like, it was kind of redundant. What it was. We played like 10 or 15 seconds of it. And what did he say? He talked about inflation and interest rates. Inflation, interest rates. And that's all he said like three different times.
Corrupt court stuff?
No, all he did was that.
Yeah.
And that is right on the backs of this new poll, basically pointing out the two primary things right now within the economy that people are freaking out about are those two. And he said it. Yeah. I mean, it was almost like, dude, get off of it. Like Rhino and I were sitting back like we want to hear something. No, somebody's disciplined this message up a little bit.
They really have, and I love it because he did a really good job talking about inflation, and I love that he calls it, I call it the BIT tax now. He calls it the Biden inflation tax. That's what this inflation is. Yeah. You're paying 30% more. Tax. You're paying 30% tax. Yeah, it's a silent tax. So I love the fact that he talked about that. I love that he talked about economy. And the one thing, and maybe I have to go back and find it because I thought about it too.
I'll go grab it during the break because I think we can do let's in the 8 o'clock hour. Again, you'll listen to it and you'll say this is boring.
This is boring and calm. But I love that he had a little fun in Waukesha and he talked about Bidenomics and how it's destroying the country and he named that. And he goes, but don't worry, we're coming back and we're bringing MAGAnomics just to kind of troll everybody. That was a really fun but really unoffensive way to have and poke fun at Biden, but also remind people that you liked it better when you had MAGAnomics, didn't you?
But that's the thing. You said boring and kind, or boring and calm, rather.
It was.
But think about what's happening in America. Mm-hmm. Who wouldn't go back to boring and calm? I'd go back there in a minute.
Yeah, I'll raise my hand for that.
I was talking to my kid on the way home when we were driving home from Charleston yesterday. I was like, are you seeing any of that craziness?
Like Rhino and I, because we started with it straight up 6 o'clock in the morning. It was right when the police were rolling into UCLA at 3 o'clock in the morning locally there. And so him and I, at least me, I was the monkey with the cymbals by the time I saw Donald Trump. We were like, I was like, here he goes. He's going to say all sorts of crazy. It's what he's going to do. And he got up in front of people and just, it was calm and boring.
But I'm not disappointed by that.
But that's, again, I was expecting one thing, I was given another, and then it didn't make sense until the economic data was shared later in the day.
Someone told him that media only covers him when he's out in front of the courthouse. CNN, MSNBC, they love that shot. And they love that shot because then he reacts to the judge. And they are able to go ahead and send that right over so that he'll get fined, and they make sure they see it. Someone told him because he got up there in front of all the TV, and that's where he needs to campaign at this point.
Absolutely, because that's where he's getting on TV. Now, the more he does this, the less you'll see. All of a sudden, the courthouse pictures will go away as well.
Caitlin Collins and all them will be, cut the feed. We don't want him actually saying things that people relate to.
He might be lying to us. We can't show it.
That's right.
It's like, meanwhile, the administration lies to me every single day, and you're like, let's go to him live.
Yeah, let's go to Biden. I flew a hot air balloon around the world in 80 days.
I drove 80. Okay, see, you have to say that. You don't even need to. I drove an 18-wheeler.
That's right.
I grew up in Puerto Rico. I grew up in a black church.
Yeah.
That's how I got cancer. I mean, these are all things, like, we don't have to exaggerate it all.
No, because they're unimaginable that anybody would mention them.
My uncle was eaten by cannibals.
I mean, that's the cherry on top right there.
That's such a good
There's nothing that will ever top my uncle was eaten by cannibals in Papua New Guinea. Good Lord. 7 o'clock hour is brought to you by Van Zant Law. If you're in an accident, make the right call, vanzantlaw.com.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
People in Papua New Guinea are like, what the? Come on. Come. Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Friday, May 3rd. Electric vehicle maker Rivian will be receiving $827 million in subsidies to support expansion at their Illinois plant to build the new R2 vehicle. The R2, a two-row vehicle, is a crossover that was supposed to have been launched here in Georgia after the state gave the company $1.5 billion in incentives to build a plant near Rutledge. Although Rivian has paused construction of the plant, they say they still plan to have it up and running by 2030. Cherokee County Sheriff's Office arrested 27-year-old Parth Patel after he tried to scam an 80-year-old woman from Cherokee County out of $200,000 worth of gold. Investigators say Patel is a lower-level associate in a much larger criminal organization based out of the UK and India. Deputies say the scammers claim they worked with the U.S. Treasury and convinced her to buy $100,000 worth of gold. After she did, called again and convinced her to buy $200,000 worth of gold and meet in person. This time, the police were there to intercept and arrest the scammer. And in sports, Georgia head coach Kirby Smart becomes the first $13 million a year coach in college football. Smart received a new 10-year, $130 million deal that was approved by the university officials on Thursday. Smart could also earn up to $1.5 million in bonuses.
Good Lord.
It's a nice day, huh?
Thank you, Lord. Yes.
Bro, all you have to do is win two.
Yeah, and have the desire to win more. I mean,
they're going to get a third.
We'll see. I mean, it's an uphill battle, man. You know that every year's tough.
Yeah, I guess the NIL has kind of changed it, but this would be a dynasty if there wasn't transfer portals and NIL deals.
Holy cow. Morning Xtra and Xtra 106.3. Angela Morabito was the spokeswoman under Betsy DeVos for the Donald Trump administration. She's here to talk about the lawsuit against the Biden administration over Title IX. Next on the Morning Xtra on Xtra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station.
If you love news and talk, you have to connect with the biggest personalities in the South at thepodcastpark.com. It's more original Atlanta content from Atlanta's hometown talk crew. From legal news to sports and politics, and even archives of interviews from years past. Find the podcast that you love and subscribe everywhere you get podcasts.
Hey Atlanta, it's Ben, host of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show, proudly brought to you by Peach State Pride. Each and every weekend, we bring you all the issues going on around the globe and what America's ultimate role is in order to drive our agenda forward as conservatives. And if you ever miss an episode, you can download everything I've ever done on Apple, Spotify, or you can go to the Podcast Park. See you around, Atlanta.
Hey sandwich lovers, today's your lucky day. There's a whole new way to roll for lunch or dinner delight with Nucky's Hoagies in the Roswell Corners Shopping Center. Now open. Nucky's Hoagies in Roswell is family owned and operated by the Sub-Sisters, Stacy and Shannon, whose love language is food and Nucky's Hoagies, their passion. When you bite into a Nucky's Hoagie, you'll taste the difference. The softest hoagie rolls ever, along with hunger-quenching sandwich combinations. Make Nucky's Hoagies in Roswell on Woodstock Road your new favorite spot for lunch or dinner.
Being in an accident really bites. You need people around you that are going to make the whole process easier to deal with. I just described David Van Sant at Van Sant Law. He used to work for the insurance companies. What an advantage. He knows who to call, what to say, and they're not going to pull the wool over his eyes. Give him a call. Van Sant Law, 855-GA-INJURY, vansantlaw.com, 855-GA-INJURY.
Principal Consultant, PSO, Omnifunctional Positions offered by Manhattan Associates Incorporated in Atlanta, Georgia. Assist in the management of a single software system integration project to include overall success of an implementation from inception to installation, including managing project scope, design, deliverables, issue escalation, and resolution. Up to 50% travel required. Employee reports to office in Atlanta, Georgia. Position may work from home, but must live within commuting distance of stated office. Apply online at www.manh.com/about-us/careers.
Hey golfers, the next time you're looking for a quality course to play with a great variety of hole layouts and elevation changes that demand every shot in your bag, then you've got to line up a tee time at Wolf Creek Golf Course. Since 2001, Wolf Creek has earned a reputation as one of the most challenging and most fun golf course experiences out there. Wolf Creek is conveniently located just 10 minutes west of the Atlanta airport and only 15 minutes southeast of downtown Atlanta. When you play golf at Wolf Creek, you'll find beautiful natural scenery and excellent turf from the tee boxes to the fairways to the greens, with top-notch Bermuda grass in tournament condition. After your round, Wolf Creek offers a patio area for your group to enjoy a 19th hole gathering. Golf Digest selected Wolf Creek previously as one of the best golf courses to play in the Atlanta area. To book a tee time, please visit wolfcreekgc.com or call 404-344-1334. That's 404-344-1334. wolfcreekgc.com.
Securing America.
President Biden's Director of National Intelligence, Avril Haines, tells senators cyber attacks skyrocketed by 74% in 2023. She says the likelihood of a single attack having widespread impact still remains low, but
the increased number of attacks and the actors' willingness to access and manipulate these control systems increases the collective odds that at least one could have a more significant impact.
Haines says many of the attacks are simple in nature, targeting weak passwords and weak networks. The director stressed to the Senate Armed Services Committee the need for those in charge of critical infrastructure to improve cybersecurity. The most recent defense budget included an increase in hiring and training for the Cyber Service Academy. President Biden's defense budget request includes $14.5 billion for cyberspace. On Capitol Hill, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
Grow your business organically with Atlanta's fastest growing news and talk station, Xtra 106.3. Get started today by emailing sales@xtra1063.com.
We welcome wisdom to the studio today. Angela Morbido was the spokeswoman for the Department of Education under Betsy DeVos in the Trump administration, and her new job has her suing the Biden administration over Title IX. We're going to get to that in just a little bit. I just made this announcement yesterday. But it'll be along with the state of Louisiana, Mississippi, Montana, and Idaho. It's all over Title IX. We're going to talk about that. But I want to first talk about your perspective coming from the Department of Education about what's happening across the country on these college campuses with these paid agitators.
Well, it is great to be with you guys. And as much as I wish I had great news to share, we're watching absolute horror unfold at Columbia. And you see several levels of a failure of leadership here, right? At first they called in the cops. Arrested a bunch of people, didn't like the bad PR they got. So they said, we're not going to call in the cops again, but you have until 2 p.m. Monday, so yesterday, to get off campus. Nobody did that, and there were seemingly not a lot of consequences. The school has said, we started suspending people. Well, what did the protesters do? They realized, hey, no consequences, so last night they took over a building.
Yeah. What are they afraid of? Why are they afraid of just telling these kids, guess what? You're not going to graduate. You're not going to get recommendations. You're not going to get jobs if you act like this. Sorry, it's time to stop. This is ridiculous. This is hatred on another level. That's what you're promoting. The fact that they don't stand up, the fact that the Biden administration won't stand up for what's right, and we'll talk about that with women and taking away women's rights. But again, you're taking away the rights of Jewish students to be able to get into their classrooms. Why are these? It just doesn't make sense that nobody is standing up and saying enough's enough with these kids.
Right. I think some of these university leaders are just terrified of their own students and quite frankly of their own faculty. You've got the faculty out there dressed up like hall monitors, like crossing guards kind of in the orange vest saying, no, you can't come in. But it's ironic that they're so afraid of bad press because there's nothing worse in terms of what a university would look like.
That's not good press. Two-thirds of the country, two-thirds of America says this is or unacceptable. Two-thirds of the country disagree with it.
And two-thirds of the country is absolutely right. And this could not be happening at a worse time from the perspective of people at these elite colleges, because tomorrow, May 1st, is the deadline for incoming freshmen to decide where they want to go to school. And if you got admitted at Columbia, chances are you got admitted at a bunch of other great places too. So why would anybody decide to go there unless they condone this madness?
I don't expect you to agree with me on this, but wink if you want to. But I love this because I love watching this crazy far and left go after their own institutions and tear them apart. All I've said is handle this with kid gloves. Let them all do what they're going to do. Watch them all tear each other apart, and then we'll be there at the end to go, how about you let the adults back in the room to
let
handle
us
this
fix
sort
it.
of stuff?
Yeah, look, I agree with you on this. But these kids and everybody else, there's two different coverage. We're seeing coverage on Fox News, and I just brought it up at UNC. Fox News says, hey, these kids are throwing stuff at police officers. They're attacking police officers. And then you go to CNN and MSNBC, they say, here are these poor kids getting zip tied, and these are just students, and they've been demanded to vacate, or else they're going to have to deal with the fact that they might get suspended or expulsion from the university. They're playing the game for these kids, saying they're the victims.
It's completely ridiculous. And I'm sad for two groups of people here. First and foremost, Jewish students and faculty who have been terrified to leave their dorms or go to their offices.
It's unacceptable.
Absolutely.
It is so unacceptable.
Absolutely. And I'm also sad for the kids who, quite frankly, have nothing to do with this or wish they could have nothing to do with this. This is the same group that graduated high school in 2020.
That are losing. I brought up a story from USC, girl that went on social media and she was ranting and raving, and rightfully so, that she lost her high school graduation and now USC has canceled her college graduation.
So this is two sets of milestones. They're losing two crazy people. You had the COVID crazies, and now you've got these pro-Hamas crazies.
I think they're the same, though. It's the same group of people that are crazy.
But I will not call them pro-Palestinian anymore.
No.
I don't think they actually care about people in Palestine. I think they care about terrorizing their Jewish peers.
Not only that, look, I don't even know if it's that deep into the Jewish part with these students. You know what these students want by taking over this? They want the cops to fire on them. They want the cops to attack them, because this is the Stop Cop City group.
Yes.
This is the BLM that says cops are bad. These are all the same groups. They want to show police are bad. They want to show that's what this is about. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. What about the police officers at George Washington University that didn't show up because of the bad press? How about that? When George Washington calls the police in, the D.C. Police Department in, and they're like, yeah, we can't come. We're afraid of the bad press we'll get.
At this point, I don't think it can surprise anyone when we look around and wonder why D.C. is such a failed city. Why the place where...
And they want to make it a state.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, the place where I lived for most of my adult life, I go back now and, was trying to make a late-night candy run to my local grocery store, and it's terrifying. And there are people yelling at you on the sidewalk. There's a security guard who stands there, does nothing, and I'm just one kind of random woman trying to get her late night candy fix. I'm not trying to live there anymore. It's impossible. But then you've got the opposite, right? In New York, where you have the NYPD gave a press conference last week where they said, we are at the ready, but we can't move on private campus property until the university president calls us. But they were basically saying, hey, President Shafiq, call us. We're ready.
Yeah.
And she won't do it.
Angela Morabito is our guest on the Morning Extra, and I keep going back to this. When you see what happens on these college campuses, and when these people move on, there's just communist paraphernalia all over the place. And so, as much as I will call it anti-Semitic, I'm going to really call it anti-Western. Because a lot of it, at its core, when we talk about it's the same people. It's the same people that show up for climate change. It's the same people that show up for trans movement. Same people that show up for Antifa and BLM and everything else. It's the same groups of people. They've just put on a different hat. And ultimately, their one goal is collapse of Western society.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is such a good point. And it also bears asking the question that seemingly no one in the mainstream press will do, which is why do they all have matching tents?
Right. But not only that, can we talk about that too? Yeah, I was just about to bring that up with you. Not only do they have matching tents, okay, these are the same kids who can't pay their debt back. They can't afford to do anything. But yet every one of these signs is professionally printed. Every one of these banners is professionally printed. A minimum banner of 4 foot, 3 foot by 4 foot is over $215. I know, I've done the research and I've done this. The little signs that they carry, also hundreds of dollars. Who do you think's paying for this? It's not these kids.
George Soros. Well, most of the protesters are agitators, not students.
Even
now,
the kafiyas are being handed out to them.
Right. Yep. They're the hangers-on. I feel like at least the students that are getting involved are the hangers-on that have no direction in life. They don't have maybe they don't have a good family life. Maybe they don't have sports or activities to keep them focused on the things that matter in the world. So they're looking for some sort of belonging, and they find it with these agitators.
But Angela, you've been around this, obviously, done this professionally. It seems like there's a certain type of student who gets lured into this and believes it with all their heart because the amount of indoctrination they've gotten. Or tell me if I'm wrong. I just know that when I was on campus, we would have all looked at this and gone, well, that looks crazy. I was in Texas, okay? So, like, we would not have any interest in any of this stuff going on.
Oh, yeah, you're not wrong. I think there's a reason that these insane hostile takeovers are happening at places like Columbia, like George Washington, and you've got places like USC and UCLA that are just terrified of it. If the encampments were all just, like, evaporated today, and I don't mean, like, harmfully in any way. I just mean if they went home, if they magically disappeared, this same sentiment would regenerate on campuses really fast, because you look at who they hire, who their faculty are, and you look at who they admit. So I think the short-term fix here is for college presidents to actually enforce their own codes of conduct and to allow law enforcement to actually do their job and enforce the law. But the longer-term solution is don't fill up your campus with people who hate Israel and, quite frankly, hate Jewish people.
And America.
Yes, and don't fill up your campus with people who are so susceptible to brainwashing and so desperate for meaning that they are willing to sympathize with a terror group.
But how do we screen for that these days?
I was going to say, how are you going to stop that? Because we've seen it. They didn't defend Riley Gaines and the other women in the locker room. They don't defend the Jewish students. They don't defend any of the groups that are being really terrorized by these tyrannical minority groups.
Yeah, there has to be a systemic change. And I think a real model for that right off the bat is the University of Florida. They handed out a memo that said, you are more than welcome to exercise your free speech rights on campus. You are not welcome to harass, threaten, or intimidate anybody else or otherwise stop education from going on. If you do that, we're going to suspend you for a period of time and you're kicked off campus for 3 years. They don't have the problems that Columbia and GW have.
You mean you're telling me that consequences are real and they work? Actions and consequences. It's like when you're rearing a child and you tell them no, and they do it again and you tell them no, and then there's punishment. Maybe as a very small child, it's time out, but then at some point when they get a little older, it may be a butt whooping, because that's what I got. And there was a handful of times I had to give my own kid a butt whooping.
Oh, let's spank them.
And it works. It was nothing to do with being, abusive. It was merely the way to curtail the bad behavior. And you're telling me consequences work?
I have to believe this is the first time some of these people have ever faced a consequence in their life, and they're not real happy about it. They are calling themselves victims. They are demanding amnesty.
Yeah, I saw that for the AP. Ridiculous. There's an AP article about that whole thing, that these people want amnesty. We want to raise hell, cause problems, and then we don't want to be punished for it. What do you think?
Yeah, I stole the car, but I brought it back.
Idiots. These people are idiots. How can you be such an educated idiot?
Well, they got trapped. And I think that's what it is. These students got trapped because the reality of it is, if you do put those consequences out, the students will stay out. But who's not going to stay out? Antifa and the professional agitators. But then again, you're only looking at 10 of them, and that's not a good enough movement for them. They need these kids to get sucked into this, to believe that they're also, these are paid actors. They look just like every other college student in order to bring these other kids in to think, oh, wait, you do go here, right? Yeah. That's what this is.
The thing that has hurt my heart is watching Jewish kids try to get to class and being blocked and being prevented. And you brought up George Washington University. Why you think that it's happening, focus there is because of the Jewish population there. This seems like something that would have happened in World War II, not in 2024 in the United States of America, yet it is.
And that's what makes this even more terrifying, because you think that as a society, quite frankly, as a civilization, that we're past this.
What happened to never again?
Never forget. This anti-Semitism is the world's oldest hate. And Gen Z and the people funding Gen Z, which I think is incredibly important here, have decided to rebrand it. I believe that these protests are not random. It's happening at places like Columbia, like Emory, like George Washington, that actually have a very high Jewish percentage undergraduate population. These protests are being orchestrated in large part by outside groups that have found fertile ground in the minds of incredibly woke, radically progressive Gen Z. And they picked their targets carefully to do the maximum amount of harm. I also believe these kids have been coached. You watch any of them, when they do get arrested, they scream bloody murder and they yell things into the camera, because all their buddies got their phone cameras on, like, you're hurting me, when they are very visibly not being hurt.
Yeah.
They're not being hurt.
Yeah, give credit to Georgia, though, right now, because they did what they needed to do yesterday. They arrested 16 people in total Monday night. They went ahead and suspended 7 of the 10 students that were arrested, and they continue to do it. As of this morning, no protesters were present, even though it was drizzling a little bit. And at 9 a.m., there was nobody out there. Now, people may have come since then, but that's exactly what you were talking about. Start shutting them down, giving them consequences, and look how quick that fizzled out.
I have to wonder if the relaxation of academic standards does have anything to do with this. And again, this is all in theory, because when I looked back over it at Columbia 2004, if you wanted to get into Columbia, one of the Ivy League schools, one of the best in the country, you had to have about a 4.2 average. Now, Columbia no longer tracks GPA for admittance. So it really is about, what did you write? What are you involved in?
There's somebody that got in that wrote BLM just continually over.
And so you wonder what happens when we stop asking people to have critical thinking, or if we're saying, well, let's take a look at a different view of you to get you in here. I don't know if that's the cause, but there's something that has changed with these students.
Yeah, college admissions has in some ways moved away from merit, quite frankly, in a lot of ways moved away from merit, and has become more of an ideological litmus test of, just like Tug mentioned, is all you got to say is BLM a bunch of times and they'll say, great.
You're in.
Have an Ivy League education.
You're worldly.
Awesome.
Yes, yeah.
Can I do that online? Like get a doctorate just by saying stuff like that?
Maybe. It seems like it's a strong possibility.
I'm scared to find out, because you may be completely right.
The answer is likely yes.
Probably, yeah.
It's like he's got a doctor from Columbia by next summer.
Yeah.
Wow.
So these kids also have no sense, not just of history, not just of moral decency, but also of irony, because what do they accuse Israel of doing? They say it's an illegal settler state. They're the ones with the illegal settlements. Israel has a right to exist.
Yes.
They don't have a right to take over campus and tell their Jewish peers that they can't get an education.
So when all of this broke out on October 7th, because I pride myself on we're going to do the extra research, I listened to 26 hours of a podcast that went through the entire history. And again, from a non-political view, it was just, here's the history of this entire region. And by the time you reach the end of it, I feel like I probably invested 24 hours more than this kid did.
Yes.
In finding out, here's the entire historical area and here's what's going on. And the problem is, they would all look at that as like a sucker play. Why would you have to listen to that? Why would you have to do that much research before you? Oh, I was just told this was bad.
I listened.
I mean, you can go back through the history of Israel and understand that the Israelis, the Jewish settlers there, along with your Muslim settlers there, whether you want to call them the Palestinians or anybody else in that region, looked at each other as cousins. They looked at the British as the evil.
Yes.
They were like, the British are the ones pitting us against one another. We're actually cousins and friends here.
The British were the ones who gave Israel the right to get their land back. I want to make sure that we say that. For 3,000 years, it belonged to the the Jewish people. So, but it was Britain who did all of this, and if you want to blame anyone, blame them.
Blame them for causing the hostilities in the area. And again, if you told that to any one of these people on one of these campuses, they would be like, what are you talking about?
They have no idea.
No clue.
They're all very proud graduates of the TikTok School of Law.
Yes, very much so.
They think they're experts on everything, when in fact, just like you said, they've never learned history.
Rhino, it is a school.
I got to get that before they go out of business here.
And what's so bad about it is if you were to ever explain to them that you had people from other countries, namely like Jordan, that actually owned the land and basically flat out said, we're selling it back to the Jews who want to come into this area. And what was happening is we're kicking off these Palestinians off the land. Well, that was the problem. It's like, you were undersold by your Muslim brethren. They're the ones who sold the land out from under you and told you had to go.
Morning Xtra on Extra 106.3. When we come back with Angela, let's get into the topic of Title IX. And the press release that the Defense of Freedom Institute has shared with us, that they've teamed with the states of Louisiana, Mississippi, Montana, and Idaho to file a lawsuit against the Biden administration over those new Title IX rules. We'll talk about that next on Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station. Hey, it's Tug. The Morning Extra has you covered from 6 to 10, and Kimmer's got you on the ride home.
President White Trash said that his uncle got shot down and eaten by cannibals and never recovered his freaking body, which didn't happen. So he talked about cannibals. And so the Prime Minister says, no, wait a minute. Prime Minister says, this is just not right. We don't do that kind of thing. My country does not deserve to be labeled like that. He says in a separate statement, the Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea said the people of Papua New Guinea live with the fear of being killed by bombs left over from the Second World War. So please come and freaking get them. We want your white... right, instead of focusing on cannibals, why don't you focus on cleaning up the unexploded ordnance left over in Papua New Guinea from World War II?
Somebody put a satirical piece on social media saying, what would you think if you were the poor American consulate to New Guinea and you had to go to this guy and explain what the president just said?
Yeah, sorry about that whole cannibal thing.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Marketing is everywhere. From the billboards on the highways to the notifications on your phone, we are constantly bombarded with people trying to sell us stuff. What makes good marketing? Are you doing enough in your life personally and professionally to market yourself? You have questions, and the Marketing Madmen have answers. Tune in every Saturday, now at 4 p.m., right here on Extra 106.3 to get practical marketing advice from expert guests who are shaping and reshaping the business world. They say marketing is a madman's game. Join the Marketing Madmen every Saturday at 4 p.m. to find out why.
This is Dan Watkins with All Four Seasons. We've always been Atlanta's best at installing and servicing garage and entry doors, but you would be surprised at how many windows we've installed as well. So we're proud to announce a new division, All Four Seasons Windows. We now have the ability to make sure every opening in your house is safe, energy efficient, and looks darn good. So give us a call today to schedule your free sales consultation. Find out how you can decrease your energy bills and increase the beauty and value of your home with All Four Seasons garage, entry doors, and windows.
Senior Principal Software Engineer, R&D, Cloud Platform positions offered by Manhattan Associates Incorporated in Atlanta, Georgia. Manage multiple projects in connection with the development and implementation processes for Manhattan's supply chain products and services. Manage development of detailed design specifications for multiple areas of a software system or database. Employee reports to office in Atlanta, Georgia. Position may work from home, but must live within commuting distance of stated office. Apply online at www.manh.com/about-us/careers.
Fox on Tech.
Soon you might be able to just grab that jumbo pack of toilet paper and not check out at the register. We've been telling you about new brick-and-mortar retail tech making checkout lines a thing of the past. Aldi is now field testing some of these setups, but Amazon just ended its use of it at its grocery locations. But now Sam's Club is about to make more use of this kind of tech. The Warehouse Club, operated by Walmart, already allows its members to scan items with a smartphone app in order to pay quickly. But now the company says that experience will be augmented by cameras and other smart tech that will know when you take something off the shelf and put it in your cart and walk out. Sam's Club says it will make your shopping trip about 23% faster, and you'll avoid those long lines at the registers at the club, waiting behind that one person who's buying 9 pounds of chicken. With Fox on Tech, I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3 with daily commentary you'll hear throughout the day. And he's on live with the Morning Extra every Tuesday morning at 7:30. Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3. And catch all of Neil's commentary on the Extra app.
Tug, Rhino, and Loso on the Morning Extra at Extra 106.3 until 10. Our guest is Angela Morabito. She was the spokesperson for the Department of Education under Betsy DeVos in the Trump administration. Before we get to the lawsuit that the Defense of Freedom Institute has filed about Title IX, I want you to hear one of the greatest female tennis, if not the greatest female tennis player of all time, talking about playing against men.
Men's tennis and women's tennis are completely almost two separate sports. So I'm like, if I were to play Andy Murray, I would lose 6-0, 6-0 in 5 to 6 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. Because no, it's true. It's
honestly,
true. It's a completely different sport. The men are a lot faster. They serve harder. They hit hard. It's just a different game. And I wouldn't do Billie Jean any justice. So Andy, stop it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let you kill me.
Interesting that she would put it that way, being one of the greatest of all time.
I was going to say, that's the greatest tennis player I think I know.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody else that would compare to her on the women's side of sports. But the way she talked about playing Andy Murray, when she said it's a different game altogether, it leads us to the Department of Education's new regulations unlawfully contradicting the text and purpose of Title IX by expanding the law which prohibits discrimination in educational programs and activities on the basis of sex to include gender. Defense of Freedom Institute has teamed up with the states of Louisiana, Mississippi, Montana, and Idaho to file a lawsuit over this with the Biden administration. What is your role in this, Angela?
So the Defense of Freedom Institute filed this lawsuit really to save Title IX. Because what the Biden administration's doing here is taking a law that protected the civil rights of women for 50 plus years now and is actually using it against us. They have decided that they can define what words mean, and they're now saying that, a law that says on the basis of sex, well, sex now includes gender identity. No, it doesn't. Yeah. Sex is biological. Gender identity is a relatively recent concept, but the Biden regime, quite frankly, is so desperate to appease the very, very far radical left that they are now eroding due process and harming women in every level of education.
So women, they want you to talk about reproductive rights and rights of women, except for the right to their own privacy in locker rooms. Right. And that's my biggest problem with this Title IX, reversal at this point, is that these young girls don't have a right to their privacy anymore.
Yeah, so under this new rule, which would take effect on August 1st, schools are not allowed to stop a boy from entering the girls' restrooms if he says, I believe I'm a girl. Same goes with locker rooms. Same goes with, think about like showers in the locker rooms after, sports games and stuff. It's incredibly harmful to women. And I think the biggest tell of just how bad it is what they're doing is you've got the Department of Education saying that repeatedly misgendering or mispronouncing somebody could create a hostile environment that amounts to sex discrimination. But a little girl having to change clothes next to a boy in the locker room somehow doesn't create a hostile environment. They're ridiculous.
See, this is the part that I enjoy the pushback from state of Texas, state of Oklahoma.
Yes.
Who else is joining this where they're just flat out saying we are not going, because we're in a point of lawlessness anyway. It's just what's happening. You constantly have this administration that's pushing stuff across that ends up being defeated at the Supreme Court level. It's non-constitutional. At what point do we start saying, hey, our state's not going to pay any attention to what you're trying to do? We're going to keep this as protecting our women in our state.
So that has started to happen. There are a whole bunch of states that are standing up against this in different ways, whether they've just said we won't comply or through the court system. But DFI is very proudly working with the 4 states that Tug mentioned. It's Louisiana, Montana, Mississippi, and Idaho to stand up and say this law is not constitutional. It's not a law, but it carries the force of law. So when schools, states, whoever decides to go against what Biden has decided, they are risking their federal funding. Doing the right thing could have a really hefty price. And part of the goal with this lawsuit and in overturning this rule, getting rid of it, is to make sure schools don't have to pay that price for doing the right thing for their students.
Angela, what is the likelihood that y'all win?
Oh my gosh, I wish I had a crystal ball. I'm very optimistic about it. I believe that Biden's regulation is so completely radical and illegal on its face. It violates the entire purpose for which Title IX was written.
I'm just curious.
Totally.
But imagine you get this in an election year.
Right, but
that's the game.
I believe that the rule is so obviously illegal that it's going to go away and that we will win in court. I can't.
You can't promise.
I can't promise that.
It's got to go through the
our justice system is 2 tiers.
That's exactly
which
right.
Means we have no justice system.
Rhino, you're not wrong. You're exactly right. That my fear is that the weaponized DOJ will do whatever Biden and the administration says to do, including throw this lawsuit out or do something detrimental to this lawsuit, knowing that it is a political hot potato because the majority of the American people, the majority of American citizens, do not support men taking advantage of women in the realm of sports, but in the realm of privacy too. It gets talked about with sports a lot. But and I'm glad, Rhino, that you brought in the whole locker room thing, man. And Los is the only one on the show that's got daughters, so I can only imagine how I would react. I can only imagine how he would react if there was a situation where his daughters were put in that scenario.
They would not be comfortable, and I think the creepy part about it is that we do have an actual scenario where men enjoy being able to get undressed in front of women, and that's something that we know that
weirdness.
That'll be. I'm fat. Well, there's men that enjoy this factor, whereas I don't know one woman, or at least I've never heard a documented history of a woman deciding she wanted to become a man so she can get undressed in front of other men.
Yeah, no, that's the weird part about it, and this is the disturbing part because this isn't just colleges we're dealing with. This is elementary school up.
That's right.
So I know that they've done things here in Georgia to protect our school kids in our public schools here in Georgia. But where are they in this lawsuit? Where is Governor Kemp and everybody and Chris Carr joining and saying, no, we need to make sure that our schools won't lose any federal funding because we're not going to stand for this?
So the state of Georgia is part of a separate lawsuit. They are standing up against this. They're just doing it in a way that's different from what I'm working on.
Okay, good news.
But that raises a really good point about this new rule because it fully entrenches that red state, blue state divide. It says that states are fully permitted to allow men and women's sports, but it doesn't force them to do that yet. So that's where the state level becomes really important because if your state is one of the ones that has stood up for the rights of women and said, no, keep women's sports female, you're going to be okay for now. Now, another rule related to Title IX, specifically on athletics, is expected later in the year. But, for now, your state is kind of allowed to stand up against that. That may very well go away.
Yeah.
But the Department of Ed has effectively said, you could have a boy on your swim team, on your volleyball team, whatever, and even if you file a complaint, we don't believe that's a Title IX violation.
Oof, man, I tell you what, Angela, you'll have to come back as this lawsuit moves forward. Keep us updated on how it's going because it's so incredibly important. And Los has already has said it so many times, and you just echoed it too. Local. Yes. It's so important because all of that's going to fall in a local jurisdiction, most likely. So please come back. Thank you so much for spending time with us this morning. Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. 7 o'clock hour brought to you by Van Sant Law. If you're in an accident, make the right call. VanSantLaw.com. When we come back, a frightening number of people in America are afraid of another civil war taking place. Think about that. They always just said, just let that settle in your mind. It's so frightening. We'll talk about it next. On Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station. Sports Report, Fox News Update, and then more of the Morning Extra.
It's time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
I started wearing glasses in the 3rd grade. Skinny guy, crew cut, horn rim glasses, and yes, adhesive tape at the bridge when I broke them. From that point on, I was 4 eyes. I tried contacts, couldn't stand them, couldn't wear them. But then, a couple of years ago, an eye surgeon in Atlanta named Trevor Woodhams performed surgery on both of my eyes. He sucked out the lens and the cataracts with it and inserted in both eyes a corrective lens. I went from terrible vision to 2016. From our deck in Naples, I could spot fish in the water before the ospreys did. And by the way, the Queen has had the same surgery. My eyesight was a disability. I was glad to get rid of it. But now, listen to this. There's an ophthalmologist named Jeff Levinson. He does inexpensive cataract surgery to restore vision to 1,000 people. And now the woke universe is saying that he is disparaging people with disabilities. Yeah, disparaging. Somebody in the Free Press wrote, disability no longer needs to be cured. It should be embraced and celebrated. This is the left talking, folks. The woke people. The article says, a growing number of Americans view their disabilities as a core part of their identities. They don't want to be cured. And listen to this. Some of these people hope that their children have the same disabilities. Why this yarn, this story? Just want you to understand, folks, how insane these people on the woke left are. And we're talking about correcting eyesight here. You should see them go into complete meltdowns when somebody tries to cure somebody else's deafness. The world of woke. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
Get ready for Real Talk on the Janelle King Show, where we tackle kitchen table topics that are banned from family gatherings, but crucial for a strong republic. Tune in every Saturday at 3 p.m. and every Sunday for an encore episode at 9 a.m. And if you can catch us live, great. But if not, no worries. New podcasts drop every Tuesday on the Podcast Park right here on Extra 106.3 or wherever you get your podcasts. Join us for insightful conversations that matter.
Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watch Company, where quality and value make the difference. Locally owned and located in Sandy Springs, offering you the finest selection of unique diamonds, sapphires, rubies, and emerald jewelry, as well as other fine gemstones. Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watches has been servicing Rolex watches for over 30 years, and their Rolex-trained watchmaker will service your watch in their state-of-the-art Rolex service center in their store. Lee Brandt uses only genuine Rolex parts, and their estimates are free. Drop by Lee Brandt in the Trader Joe's Shopping Center in Sandy Springs or visit LeeBrandt.com.
The Kimmer Show is only live on Extra 106.3 every weekday afternoon on your drive home.
By the way, they're still showing the video. This went to break, but they're showing the video live still at Columbia, where the students are there. They have the tents, and now apparently the students are saying they are willing to negotiate. I think that's pretty funny, don't you? Negotiate? How about throw them, give them plastic wrist cuffs, and off they go?
Two words.
My God.
Fire ants.
Smoke bombs, tear gas. I mean, I don't know what they're waiting for.
Bag of fire ants.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app. WFOM and W292 EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. The 8 a.m. hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air.
More pro-Palestinian encampments cleared this morning in New York City. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
We will not stop. We will not rest. It's closed.
At the New School and New York University, police showed up a few hours ago. Fox's Molly Lyons at NYU.
They moved in swiftly. They did give warnings to the protesters that remained here on site, telling them that they weren't allowed to be here, that it was time to leave, and that if there was an additional effort to push back against arrest, that there could potentially face additional charges beyond the arrest for the protest activity that was happening here. We believe that those folks have already been pushed all the way to the back of this protest and appear to have left the scene here. There are some additional folks that have arrived here essentially to support the protesters that were being taken away.
The day after it took hours to clear out a big anti-Israeli encampment at UCLA, making a lot of arrests there.
More than 200 people for failure to disperse, which is a misdemeanor. But as of now, the LA County DA's office says it has not received any cases from UCLA.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. Former President Trump will soon return to court in New York and may speak out again before going in for his trial as he continues to claim he's being persecuted. The jury heard Trump's voice in a recording related to payments made to keep alleged affairs quiet before the 2016 election.
And Keith Davidson, a former attorney for both Karen McDougal and Stormy Daniels, completed his testimony yesterday. He testified about various interactions with Cohen before and after the 2016 election. Davidson says Stormy Daniels' denial of an affair with Trump was technically true, and the money Cohen paid Stormy was not a payoff, but rather a, quote, consideration.
Fox's Brooks Singman. The former president's charged with falsifying records and payments to Daniels. An old Arizona law dating back to the Civil War that was going to take effect again after a recent court ruling that bans almost all abortions repealed, signed by the governor. America's listening to Fox News.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself.
Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95 and comes with our Feel Better or Your Money Back guarantee. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4RELIEF.
No need for traffic updates. We always steer you right. It's the Morning Extra on 106.3.
I did something that I didn't expect I would ever do. Last night,
I killed an old widow woman for inheritance.
No, that was next. I'm gonna get to that this evening, or hopefully this weekend, maybe. No, I subscribed to Netflix. I never in a million years expected to do it.
Why?
My wife wants to watch Bridgerton.
Yeah,
sucked in.
My wife's excited about it coming back.
She loves that show. She watched the first 2 episodes under the thievery of our, brother-in-law. And so she was like, I just can't. She's like, let's just subscribe. And it just, I just
you say, put your money down, lady.
Exactly right.
You can do whatever you want. I don't control you.
Yeah, it goes all into a pile. So I was like,
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was like, all right, well, it's just I did, but I never expected to. Because after a while, like, how many subscriptions do you have? Like, and it just starts to add up, man. They just start to add up.
You got a bundle, man.
I know.
Like,
but can you bundle Netflix?
Well, Netflix is independent.
Okay.
I have that. Now, I have Amazon because I have Amazon Prime.
Same here.
So that's
Same
part
here.
of that. But I have it bundled where I have Hulu with ESPN and Disney Plus as all one.
Got it.
So
do you have Netflix?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
But so, like, when I start making the comparison for everyone who's like, you just keep adding these and the... All right, if you're telling me you're going to have each individual one, yes. If you don't have them bundled, well, then, yeah, you will spend as much as on cable, but I'm nowhere close to it.
Yeah, we still steal Disney Plus, but I hear that one may be coming to an end. They're supposed to be launching something that's kind of like Netflix, where it tracks you or whatever.
Like even HBO, I have Max, and so do you.
Yes, I do, because I steal that for you.
But that's strictly from my cell phone service. I get that through AT&T.
Okay,
so I'm not paying for most of these things.
That's brilliant. That's good. But Bridgerton. Does girlfriend Erin, is she down with Bridgerton too? No, she doesn't like it.
No, I hope she doesn't.
Yeah, so she'll drag you into watching it.
I hope she doesn't find it. I should say, because I do not want. I watched the first one, so I like any kind of history. Victoria, I had no idea what I was getting into when I watched it.
Right,
and then I watched the first. I finished the first season, and I was like, "What am I watching? Like, what? I can't believe I just sat here."
So I skipped it last night because it was on too late and would have been keeping my girls up too late. So we decided we're saving it for this evening.
Okay.
The first 2 episodes of Welcome to Wrexham are out.
Okay, yeah.
Welcome to Wrexham is back.
Is that on? What's that on?
That's Hulu. It's an FX show.
Yeah, so
I mean,
watch there.
Well, again, you can go through Hulu to get it, but it's on FX.
No, it's on FX too. Cobra Kai. Have y'all ever watched any of that?
Yeah, no, that's a great show.
Final season of Cobra Kai, I guess, is coming out. 15 episodes. The first one, because they're doing it like 3 stages, and that's on Netflix because we, watched that one for a long time. I've seen all those. July 18th, followed by the second part, November 28th. Third part held until sometime in 2025, I expect, first quarter.
Your only thing that you should be paying attention to for the weekend when it comes to Netflix, they do have the roast of Tom Brady.
Yeah.
It'll be May 5th. Okay,
yeah, I do
Sunday,
look forward to that. I look forward to that one.
Because those roasts...
They're funny.
Now that you can, because on Netflix you can say whatever you want.
You say whatever you want. That's exactly right. And they used to, when they were on Comedy Central, they'd beep out some stuff. They would film it and then go back and
Well, if you watch the late night version, you could get a little bit more of the regular stuff. But
whatever they put on,
you're going to get what you're going to get on
prime
Netflix.
Time. Yeah. So I never expected to have Netflix. I thought stealing it was fine. I just had it on my phone, logged in for my brother-in-law. If it ever needed the code, I would just shoot him a text and he would send me the code, and we were good.
Smart.
But my wife's like, I would rather watch Bridgerton on the television instead of trying to, focus in on your tiny phone.
That's fair.
Yeah, so I did it, but I wasn't happy.
You couldn't screencast like we're doing with like our show in everybody's offices and stuff.
Yeah, you can, but that throws up the red flag. That
it does.
On the network, because I never did it on Wi-Fi. I watched on data, trying to protect the thievery.
So because of now hitting 24 years of marriage, you finally are allowing your wife to watch it on TV rather than the phone.
That's nice.
It's so nice.
Aren't I? Well, look, it was
So
anniversary.
giving.
Tomorrow's birthday. And then next Sunday is Mother's Day. I'm trying to be
spreading it out.
Giving.
Thank you, Rhino. Yeah,
But you know what?
Right. Yes.
Birthday, anniversary,
all that.
and you're going to get a year of Netflix, and each month you get of Netflix is a present.
What do you think?
You know what you tell her?
Yes.
You tell, especially when it comes around to Mother's Day. You say, I got you Netflix, and here's an apron.
Yes.
And you just see how long she gets upset at you for.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But it's a Bridgerton apron.
Crazy thing.
It's very Victorian.
Yes, very much so, yeah. A friend of ours, and this was before we moved to our current house, so at our old house, and the neighbors were Moroccan. Wonderful family. We just love them. Just the sweetest people in the world. But for Mother's Day one year, because Jacob and Laura used to cook together all the time because he had so many allergies, and it was a kind of a task. They would cook together. You and Liam do that.
Oh, yeah,
right?
all the time.
Exactly. So I guess it's the culture's different, I suppose, but they bought Laura and Jacob like matching aprons.
Oh, that's cute.
In. Yeah, if I were to have done that and said it out loud, people would be like, "How
oh my
could
God,
you?
that's disgusting.
How could you? How
You're so
dare you?"
misogynistic.
Exactly right. Since it's from a Moroccan family, it was fine.
Next thing you know, someone will be running out into a rustic manner, screaming in front of the broadcast.
Exactly right.
Does everybody know Tuck Howard is a misogynist?
Not
He's
that
a misogynistic.
Not that we've experienced that.
No.
Anything like that.
Not me.
Some people showing up screaming and hollering.
Screaming.
Never.
I hope you cancel Netflix and your wife fights you on the front lawn.
That'd be great.
Like 40 style boxing.
Yes, like you come home and she's just sitting outside.
Yeah, she's got her hands taped.
Canceled Netflix.
Yes,
and all your neighbors are like, "Whoa, look at the cowards fighting out in the front."
She's
lawn.
just wearing sweatpants and be like, "Get used to this, sir."
Right. Yeah, as we know, Losa told us what sweatpants means.
Sweatpants means it's the end of your evening, no matter what.
No matter what. Night off for you, buddy.
That's right.
You had plans. She's wearing sweatpants.
You have plans no longer, sir, is what it is. With all this craziness that's going on these college campuses, I mean, it's obviously the talk of the town. I want to encourage people to realize that it's not every college campus. I was telling these guys off the air, College of Charleston, where my son goes, he's like, I've seen none of that. And he's like, and, we have our own set of group of people, blue-haired people, whatever. But, they get along. Everybody seems to get along, and it's fine. So it's not happening everywhere, but it's getting a lot of attention. It's getting so much attention that almost a third of Americans, over 106 million people, believe America will have a civil war in the next 5 years, like a physical, violent civil war. And I understand how they would think that. I mean, look at these complete imbeciles who know nothing about history, violently protesting in favor of communism under the guise of Palestine. I do not believe that it'll happen in the next 5 years. I'm not saying it won't ever happen. I'm not saying that it will. I'm just saying I don't believe it'll happen in the next 5 years, and I pray that I'm right.
Well, the third of Americans, and I'd be interested to see what their political affiliation is, but I can see where they see it. I get where they see it. And I think I saw it yesterday on the campus of Ole Miss. People are starting to stand up to a minority, a tyrannical minority that, that seems a lot larger than they are, right? They're not that big. But I think a lot of people are standing up, and eventually they're going to realize, yeah, we are outnumbered, but people are tired of the the Antifa groups, the fascists that are coming out and that want to destroy this country. And I think there is an opportunity to stand up. I don't think it's going to be the way a lot of people think, where, Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to take all her, crazy MAGA extremists and Donald Trump, and they're going to take over New York. And I don't think it's going to be that, I just can't see that happening. But I could see a backlash of citizens standing up saying, hey, the police are being overrun by criminals. Our DAs are not doing anything about it, and we're going to be vigilantes. And I think that's where I'd see it.
Well, I'm not going to reference Twitter as like a real world example, but there was a small example. So I had somebody who ended up tweeting me about how, like, you're so divisive. It's always you versus us. And my entire point was very simple. I was like, we can't coexist. I believe in freedom and self-determination. You indulge in communism. And the person could only write one thing back to me. Well, whatever, you're a fascist.
Right.
And that's the moment. Yeah. That's the example. I cannot talk about freedom and self-determination and capitalism without immediately getting called fascist, which, by the way, is a construct of the left. It has nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
It's just a buzzword that they have. I look to control the means of production from on high with my government perch. The silliness is that once this woke mind virus gets into these people, that's why we can no longer have the discussion with some of them. That's why when a third of Americans say, hey, I can see us splitting up over this stuff, because you can't coexist with people that don't believe in freedom and opportunity.
the other part of it is, and it's something you said, Los, a bunch of times and have been so clear, and people, of course, take it to the nth degree. But there's a difference in like a civil war and then people just moving to places where they settle, where there's like-mindedness.
Yeah, the separation.
Exactly. And that I think is certainly a possibility.
Well, that's happening now.
Because you're actually seeing. That's exactly right. Like the people in New York, the people in California, and they move to a place where they feel like their values are appreciated.
But you're not going to destroy our area. That's the important part. Absolutely. Like, don't come down here thinking, oh, well, I'm a Democrat, I just want to pay less, and then come down here and vote for the same things you're doing up there. Yeah, because you'll get kicked out of Tugland real quick.
Well, I think about this, Rhino, and because you make this example. When I always tell people, take care of the little things, the big things will take care of themselves. It's just a soda.
Yeah.
But when it was just a soda for you, you're like, seriously, it's just a soda.
Yeah, it was a soda mixed with hypocrisy because I liked, 7-Eleven up there is very popular and was for a long time. And you get the 64-ounce slushies or a 64-ounce soda. They call it the Big Gulp up there.
Gulp, let's go.
Everybody loves the Big Gulp. And then all these Democrats were starting to say, yeah, well, yes, we've raised your leisure pass taxes. So if in order to go to the beach, you're going to have to pay this amount to exercise. If you want to go to the park where there's an area for you to exercise, you're going to have to pay for that. And also, you're not allowed to drink. So you're telling me that I'm not allowed to buy what I want to drink, but at the same time, I got to pay to work out, and you're worried about my fitness? Don't worry about my fitness. I'll take care of it. That's all it took for me to say, I'm done with this place.
But all of it starts small.
Yeah.
It starts with a soda.
That's it.
It starts with a leisure pass. It starts with these little things before you start to recognize and say, I don't want to coexist with you. I can't live around you because y'all are accepting this kind of encroachment onto just civil liberty.
I'll tell you, there's another thing. When we were driving over to South Carolina, I don't know if Laura just never noticed before, but my wife noticed someone riding their motorcycle without a helmet on. She was like,
I know.
Can he do that? And I was like, well, he is.
I've been through this, too.
Yes, he is. And she was like, is that... I was like, you don't have to. There's no law requiring a helmet in South Carolina. And she was like, I just don't know if it's a good idea. And I was like, right.
It's a horrible idea.
Right, horrible idea. But he's the one making it. That's his decision.
It's his melon that's going to be squished all over.
I don't need the government. That man doesn't need the government telling him that if his head hits the pavement, that it's going to explode. We know that. He has the ability to make the decision on his own.
That's freedom.
I don't need a safety net.
Right.
Take away the safety nets. Put the monkey bars back on the playground.
Because nobody sees how far that goes. What I do like, and again, we're seeing it in New York. You're going to start seeing it everywhere else. The citizens are starting to stand up. We saw it in Chicago. I mean, the mayor ran away from the press because they were asking tough questions the other day. Yeah. As ridiculous as it sounds, yes, the mayor ran away. Like, literally ran. Physically ran, but they are realizing, hold on one second, you're giving how much money to illegals that you brought here and you're not taking care of us. You're starting to see that, and they're starting to get tired of these little rich white kids coming into their areas, asking to defund the police and asking for the destruction of their neighborhoods. That's where the Civil War is going to be. I think just regular Americans, regardless of political affiliation, are going to be like, shut up and sit down, you little brats.
Well, we've made it a point, like in our area of the county, we make it a point. We've got school districts and all those seats that are going to be basically voted on, at least a handful of them on May 21st. And so you have that circled on your calendar because you recognize, as long as I have people that believe in, let's do the best thing for the student, not the best thing for us.
Yep.
That's taking care of local. And you're just trying to have building blocks one after another, and it's your local representatives. It's the people that are handling your town. Then it starts to build from there. We're never going to get the crazy money out of politics. Like the federal government's something we can look at and just be like, listen, it's always going to be a mess. But you can protect yourself from it.
Yeah, you can. I will say this, though. If we did have a civil war, I feel really confident. First thing we do, go to the Rubbermaid factory and stop the export of all of their shields.
All the shields. Stop
it. Yeah. Otherwise, it'll last 2.5 days.
No, I don't believe we would ever have, I don't believe we'll ever have a situation where we have a violent separation.
No, me either.
I do believe that we are going to have it to where it's going to come down to, y'all want to live your way, we want to live our way, and so how do we separate? Well, you know what, we'll still have some loose affiliation with one another, but let's be civil about this. What y'all want, we don't want, and what we want, you don't want. So y'all live your way, we'll live our way.
But you could be USSA, and we're going to be the
we're the USA, and they're the USSA.
Yeah.
But isn't it sad, though, to think that there's a part of the 320 plus million people that live in America that are just not down with freedom? Like, they're just like, no, that's not what I want. I don't want to live free.
People crave subjugation.
I know they do. It's a human
trait.
It's a flaw in a human character. But wow, man. I just can't imagine.
The delusion behind it is what throws me off. Like, I understand people who just want to, like, be lazy, give up, and be like, look, I'm fine with paying the government $600 for my affordable housing, my subsidized, apartment. I'll live in a building in the city. I'll go to work where they tell me to. I'll work for the government, and I don't have to think for myself. It's easier just to be dumb and blind to what's really going on. So I understand that. I don't understand the dumbness of repeating the lies. Like, if you want to live that way, live that way, but don't tell me it's not socialism. Don't fight back and say this other guy's bad because he wants freedom. I think the national divorce is a plausible thing. The fun part will be when California does fail, which it is falling apart and failing, and they're trying to figure out how to save it. When New York does, at least the USA that's still around will be able to go in and be like, hey, we'll buy up everything from you. No worries.
There was something that was funny from the Babylon Bee, and it was making fun of what had gone on at Columbia University, where it took the communists there all of 4 or 5 days to run out of food. It's like, once again, showing you in the course of history, you always run out of food.
That's right.
It's like, here in a microcosm, you run out of food.
Dude, it's just so sad.
California coming to you like, we're out of food, y'all. Well,
well, that's when they have to call on the red states. And then maybe
they're going to have to call on us for farming. And, well, California does a good job with their farming out, and
but
they don't take care of them. But how long will it stay? Because nobody will be able, then it becomes a tourism thing. They're all going to have to come to the South to go to the beaches that they want to go to and all the places. I mean, they could go to those West Coast beaches with the 50-degree weather. That's fine. But they're going to want to come south, so it'll be a nice little, influx for us in hospitality and vacationing and those kind of things. We'll make some good money there.
But the problem that always occurs whenever anyone turns to communism, and this happened in China. This is when you had, Mao's Cultural Revolution had to balance this thing out. Once they took over the means of production and basically said, hey, we'll handle the farming, like we'll figure this thing out, it ended up starving people because they couldn't, the government could not produce at the same level as the private sector. That's the sort of stuff that you kind of wonder, like, would they ever go that far as to California say, hey, we're going to try socialism on steroids here?
Yeah, well, they're already doing it.
Capitalism could save all that, though, but you know what I mean? Let's say it starts to crumble in California, and then all of these southern companies, they move in and they actually put capitalism in play, and it could save ultimately save the U.S.
Yeah, California's already trying to get to a socialist idea. They've been going to Vienna back and forth because Vienna does a subsidized housing where the government buys up all the land and they put up these apartments, 600 square feet. That's what you get. The government owns it. You pay them. Done deal. You're all taken care of, and you don't have to worry about anything. You can work on the property. And now the people of California are looking into that to save San Francisco and Los Angeles. It won't work.
No, it's going to fail.
They want it.
And then that's when that does fail, and then it gives ripe opportunity for capitalism and capitalistic-minded people, hopefully. I mean, we're a ways from that, but I'm just, down the road. Me just being glass half full, or trying to be. When we continue on Extra 106.3, a UCLA student has some fun at the expense of the anti-Israel protesters. We'll do that. We'll get the headlines in. And we're glad that you're with us. 404-741-1230 at Extra 106.3 across social media platforms. Don't forget about the YouTube channel, too. Just go to the at Extra 106.3 YouTube channel, and you can stream the show there. The camera show this afternoon as well. So plenty of ways to watch, plenty of ways to listen, plenty of ways to engage with Extra 106.3.
Atlanta radio legends collide on Extra 106.3. The legend Neil Bortz is live every week with Atlanta legend The Kimmer. Because when you get these two guys together, who knows where we'll end up?
I am shocked. Shocked. Well, not that shocked.
The Kimmer is live on your drive home every weekday afternoon from 3 to 6. And now Neil Bortz joins the show every week. And if you miss it, catch up anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
Horizon Background Screening is a fully licensed and insured private investigations firm that focuses on litigation support for law firms, criminal defense cases, and background investigations. We are also FCRA compliant and process pre-employment background checks, tenant screening, and background checks for volunteer organizations. Whether your business is a law firm needing anything from scene investigations to witness interviews, or a company that requires pre-employment background checks, we have the experience you need. Visit horizonscreening.com to learn more. That's horizonscreening.com.
Hey Atlanta, it's Ben, host of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show, proudly brought to you by Peach State Pride. Each and every weekend, we bring you all the issues going on around the globe and what America's ultimate role is in order to drive our agenda forward as conservatives. And if you ever miss an episode, you can download everything I've ever done on Apple, Spotify, or you can go to the podcast park. See you around, Atlanta.
This is Dan Watkins with All Four Seasons. We've always been Atlanta's best at installing and servicing garage and entry doors, but you would be surprised at how many windows we've installed as well. So we're proud to announce a new division, All Four Seasons Windows. We now have the ability to make sure every opening in your house is safe, energy efficient, and looks darn good. So give us a call today to schedule your free sales consultation. Find out how you can decrease your energy bills and increase the beauty and value of your home with All Four Seasons garage, entry doors, and windows.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Services Project Manager, PSO, omnifunctional positions offered by Manhattan Associates Incorporated in Atlanta, Georgia. Coordinates all aspects of a product or service offering project for a client from inception to installation. Installations may involve acceptance of capitalized equipment or enterprise software systems, or system integration or consulting projects engagement. Employee reports to office in Atlanta, Georgia. Position may work from home but must live within commuting distance of stated office. Apply online at www.manh.com/about-us/careers.
Millions of guys suffer from erectile dysfunction. That's 1 in 4 men. And I can tell you, I'm one of them.
If you or someone you know suffer from ED, Peyronie's disease, or PE, here's 38-year emergency room doctor and founder of Total Body Therapy of Georgia, Dr. Eric Deal.
Patients who enter my office are often frustrated, hopeless, depressed, and embarrassed. I understand the problem, and I'm going to help you fix it. There are lots of competitors that don't have the credentials that I have. When you go to other clinics, you're not going to see a board-certified physician with the experience that I have. When you come to our clinic, you're going to see me. There's just not one therapy that can solve these complex issues. I'll do a complete history and physical prior to any treatment that we use. Take it from me, Dr. Deal. When it's not hard, it's really hard.
Call Dr. Deal for your free one-on-one evaluation and resolve your ED, Peyronie's, or PE issues. Total Body Therapy of Georgia, 404-777-1911, 404-777-1911. Online at stopmyed.com.
Hey, it's Clay Travis. Buck Sexton and I are coming your way at noon, but right now we're getting your morning started right with Tug, Rhino, and Carlos Medina on the Morning Extra.
Download the app so you can listen live and on demand. 2 great conservative discussions throughout the day on Extra 106.3, the only place in Atlanta you'll get conservative thought, ideas, and discussion, and any of that. I mean, find another place. I don't know that there is one. Maybe the station you used to listen to that's 100 years old. Maybe they used to be, and maybe they're just not anymore.
Used to be.
Maybe they used to be. Maybe they're not anymore. And we welcome you here to Extra 106.3. That's just, I mean, I'm just saying. If that's where you've been, and we welcome you here now. Welcome home. We're
like underground
we kinda
conservative
are.
radio.
We kind of are. A little bit.
Yeah. You know, it like comes in, like, depending where you are. I found it in Cherokee County when I get to, JD's. It's the one that they feature in Ozark, the blue cat, they call it there. When I get to there, I get that, like, old-fashioned crinkly, Kimmer.
Yeah.
It's like, but I love, like, the little crinkle of radio.
Yeah,
like,
me too.
I don't know if it's nostalgia or what.
I think maybe that's it. I do think some of that.
I used to listen to the Mets games and Yankee games with my grandfather, who would only listen on the radio, which, by the way, okay, that's what we're going to do. Apparently from now on
Yes.
is just listen to Ben Ingram,
Which is a great way to listen.
I love
Actually,
it.
the preferred way to listen.
I think from now on, that's what I want. I'd rather listen, and this is what I've done more than ever, is go get the 680 app. I turn it on. I listen to the games like out on the porch with a beer. So much better.
At a certain point, hopefully, MLB TV, like Major League Baseball, blacks you out locally. You can watch every other game, even though you're spending your money. So they've already got your $120, $140 for the year. Why not make it available for everybody? Because considering what the landscape of what's going on, you are basically telling Major League Baseball fans, to a large extent, you can't watch our games.
The best team in baseball we cannot watch on TV right now. Like, I'm going to ask you guys at this point. I hope you don't mind if I get into this, because I think a lot of people are going to ask the same question.
That's right.
But where are we going to get the Braves now? Where do I get? I mean, maybe I could steal your DirecTV. Yeah. But otherwise, like everything's
how many
Comcast.
streams we can allow, sir.
Oh yeah, okay, that's fair. Yeah.
I don't know what that number is, but it's growing exponentially.
Oh, you've been passing that thing out, huh?
Yeah, well,
All right.
what?
So-
No,
You've been cheating on me?
No, well, my brother-in-law has it. I mean, the family, because it's the trade.
He's watching MSNBC up on it.
I know. Every time I load in there, it's on MSNBC. It's on Rachel Maddow.
No, funny enough.
It's on a loop.
Aunt Peg has Xfinity.
Oh,
she's gonna be asking for it soon too. No, but you're right.
What are we gonna do? Where are we gonna watch the Braves if you do have Xfinity? It's ridiculous at this point.
Dude,
it's a battle.
The only reason I pay for DirecTV Stream, because that's what we have,
is to watch the Braves.
That's it.
That's what we have.
That's what we have.
Speaking of the royal,
I don't want to pay any more money though. I'd rather pay the Braves direct. Why are the Braves
Can
not?
I give Rhino the login?
Well, this is the nice part about the app.
I feel like it's mine. I should be able to.
Yeah, you should be able to.
The 680 The Fan app, you get everything for free, which they pay for those rights. For the longest time, you had to go through MLB TV. You had to get their app so that you could listen to the radio version. Because I used to do that. I would put the radio version on my TV and imagine Ben. Just imagine what he was calling. It's a challenge.
Get up there.
Well, you have. What occurred, just so the audience kind of has a better view of this thing, what occurred was you had all these regional sports networks that blew up like 20 years ago, and it brought all this crazy money in, and then suddenly it turned into, wait a minute, they're not as valuable as we thought.
Right.
And so they started going bankrupt.
But I mean, I think the Braves, why would they not like run Braves.com? And I know MLB.com and all that go together with the Braves, but why would they not individually just go ahead and, with technology today?
I think they're probably.
Why not do that? Season ticket holders get the package for free when they buy it. If you buy tickets, you get 2 games for free or 5 games and get people to. I would pay the Braves to watch those games before I'd pay anybody else.
This is a battle because the Braves have been one of the teams, because of what's been going on, who've talked about their own app and their own subscription-based app where you get 6 months of Braves baseball and here's what you got. The problem is that MLB TV is probably, as of now, the most incredible sports app that's ever been created in terms of being able to watch and listen to games.
No, it is. It is
so
awesome.
expensive though, because you have to buy. Can you buy it by team, or do you have to buy the whole?
You buy the whole package, but you can.
How much is that now?
Focus on teams.
You can subscribe to particular teams. But again, the
difference in price.
best part of it is that you get everything everywhere.
Yeah, no, it's super cool. And there's rumor that the Braves and Hawks are working together on some kind of
perhaps
platform.
a regional app that they would have. Yeah. So you'd probably spend your $20
Hawks for free,
and here's what you get.
That's right. But the funny, and I'm not trying to pile on at all, but you can't help but see the irony. Is that like the Braves pre and post game is brought to you by Xfinity, and yet you can't see the game on Xfinity.
Again,
this is so weird.
Is that the craziest thing in the world? And again, not to pile on, just
observing. Can we talk about what happened? Like, do we know what happened? Like, Xfinity offered them the deal, right? Bally's going out of business. They filed bankruptcy last year.
It started with Fox Sports Southeast, and then it rolled over into Bally's. And now you have a third-party vendor. It's Diamond Sports. It basically lines out all this stuff. And the problem is you can't seem to get an agreement between all these parties on what the cable package is supposed to be. And the problem is we've now gotten into this era where there is enough cord cutting, and the idea of creating streaming networks is not generating the revenue that the people thought they were, because it's not a captive audience anymore. So suddenly, if I told you, hey, your cable bill is going up by $8 because we want to show you Braves games, people are like, a majority of people don't watch Braves games. They're busy watching HGTV, and you're telling me I've got to pay $8 more so that so-and-so can watch Braves games? That's why the model's messed up.
So all teams, you get $139.99 on MLB TV. That was really is not bad for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
That's what
now's the time to go buy it, I guess.
For sure.
But you don't get Braves.
So you can't watch the Braves on it, though. That's the thing.
That's the problem. You get blacked out locally. You can watch every other team, and you can listen to the Braves, but you can't watch the Braves there. Now, if you were... here's the fun part.
You just you ran my puppy over.
I know, your face was priceless, dude.
Now, here's the fun part. If you drive out of Market, if you drive to North Carolina, you can watch all the Braves you want on it.
Dude.
Yeah, it's market restricted.
Yeah. That's nuts.
And that's why we're asking Major League Baseball, with what's going on, can you please waive this for the year?
Why would you not?
Why would they not? Okay, so what we need to do is I take my phone in there and live stream the game from the suite.
Yes.
For everyone and charge them $1.
And then post somebody like it, on the first base side, maybe post it, and then get one of those routers. Like, I know you know how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll have 3 streams. You have every angle.
We'll switch it up, guys. You don't have to stay on the third baseline, first baseline. You guys go to the sweep behind home plate. I'll go to third, and then
we rotate it.
Yeah, we'll rotate it.
I hate to be like the hoity-toity person on this.
Yeah.
No. But they'll just make an example of Rhino just to show the one guy who actually went forward and did this. They'll be like, he's getting a year in prison. $100,000 fine. You'll be like, it was a great idea.
They'll be like Hamas, and you'll just see me go from the third deck down.
That's right. They threw
and
him.
I wouldn't blame him. I'm like, I did it to myself. Suffering the consequences.
We found him.
They threw him off the third.
But yeah, MLB TV.
See me getting chased by blooper through the outfield with my phone.
It's easier for me to watch Ranger games right now than it is to watch Braves games.
Which is nuts, man.
Because of MLB TV.
Just doesn't make sense.
We need to protest that. These are important protests. We need to go out front and protest them.
That's right. Or just get the
Actually,
the fan app, our sister station, and listen to the sultry tones of Penn Ingram every night.
I sent him a text the other night. I don't know what it was, just a home run call or whatever. And I was just like, dude, you're the best at this. You're really, really one of the best. And I was lucky enough to grow up and listen to, especially in New York, some great Yankee broadcasters, some great Mets broadcasters. Ben Ingram really knows how to deliver a game, it's so great. So, yeah, I guess I'm happy with that. I guess tonight I'll listen at 10 o'clock on...
Buddy, you're going to be up later than I am. That's the thing. I can't do the West Coast.
It's a 9:40 start time.
I cannot. Yeah. I just can't hang. I used to be able to.
I can't on a Friday night.
Yeah, Friday night because you're going to get up early. But
I got a bottle of whiskey I can...
That's right.
Watch what I'm going to do.
That's right.
I'm going to stay up till at least 10:30.
I could I'll probably watch it only because I'm going to walk in the door 9 o'clock tonight.
Yeah.
I'm actually, I've looked at it. I'm checking my daughter out of school at 2:30 for an event she has. And I will not walk back into my house until probably 9:30, 9:45. So right about game time. So I might as well just, I'm locked in. I'll watch.
I think there's a cover band playing in downtown Alpharetta that we're going to go see tonight. And maybe if we're out late enough, maybe I will catch an inning or two.
Is this where you're going to do your Slippery When Wet?
Yes. No, it's not Slippery When Wet. This is the dude named Justin. It's just Justin. He does 80s, 90s covers mainly, but he'll ease into the early 2000s. Dude, they are the tightest cover band I've ever seen play in my whole life.
You ever yell come on, Slippery When Wet?
Yes, of course. Yeah, why would you not? Play, come on, living on a prayer, give it to me.
Do you ever yell at him play Sweet Home Alabama?
Yeah. Okay. Once in a while, play some Skynyrd, man.
All right,
just screaming.
Right in the back, play some Skynyrd, man. And once in a while...
Shut up and play music, man.
That's exactly right, yeah. But that's the thing. He doesn't get up there, man. It is song after song after song, dude. They do. There's no time in between. There's no discussion. One song ends, the next is fired up. Dude, they're the best cover band I've ever seen.
By the way, I'm just reading this over from our friends over at Fox 5. It does mention how Fox 5 Atlanta has reached out to MLB TV to ask if they will be lifting the blackout restrictions on local games. So this is happening around the country of asking MLB TV to lift it for this year.
Let me guess, they're waiting on comments. They're waiting on an answer.
But at least this isn't just Atlanta.
No, yeah.
There's a multitude of markets that once Bally's was dropped off Xfinity, it's can we now finally be able to watch these games?
Yeah, and we should be able to. It's silly.
It's so dumb.
Making your product hard to obtain, hard to be a part of, hard to watch, hard to consume is not a good business plan.
No.
I don't care how good MLB.TV is. I don't care how good it is. That's a bad plan.
It's a really bad plan.
And it leads to a dead-end road.
I mean, you've converted a lot of people into being Braves fans. Why give them the opportunity to go follow a team they might have followed before?
That's right,
because they can watch it. Like the MLB TV thing I think is great. I hope the Braves get involved in that because I'd rather do that. But I'm not going to pay $139 not to be able to watch my team.
Yeah,
but I would go watch the Yankees. I will go watch other teams I enjoy watching to play.
To your point.
Yeah.
To your
point. Then what
point.
happens if I become a Yankee fan again? That'd be horrible.
I hope that never happens.
No, I'm a
That would
Braves
hurt
fan.
my heart.
Well, I got a credential, so at least I'll be able to go down there and watch the games in person.
Yeah. Look at that app. It's ready to go.
It is,
so
man.
ready.
It just doesn't let me watch Braves games.
It's a bad plan.
I can't stop laughing.
It's a bad plan.
This Ole Miss. Listen, I'm not a big Ole Miss fan, because they're an SEC, but I love them right now, man. I love them right now. This video cracks me up every time. And these guys wearing the American flag overalls, like, I need a pair of those. I don't know. I'm going to go find those. But them just sitting here and this woman, like, I mean, they are brutal with her, and she doesn't know how to deal with it. I mean, these are the people who, they run their mouths, because nobody else will speak back to them. As soon as these kids go, hey, we're not the guys who run this. We're not the dean. We're not the president. We're not going to cater to your little needs. We don't care. You're still fat. You're still fat. Whatever they're saying, whatever they're doing, these guys are heroes to me.
The wild left depends on basically finding 10, 20 people to shout down the one person who goes over to debate them. The fun part is it's reversed. And she didn't have anything to do other than sulk off. And she starts getting a little bit perturbed and a little bit more violent looking. The police have to walk her away.
Yeah, because these guys are having a ball.
And they're all disciplined. They're all sitting there just mocking her.
They're just laughing.
You'd think they're at a football game because they're giving her as much hell as they would give the other team that they're cheering against. Maybe Mississippi State or whomever else.
Yeah, but this will end up being all over probably later today, or CNN. All of them are going to be like, look at all these racist white kids and blah, blah, blah. They'll play this game, and that's what Democrats are going to do with this. No, these are just American kids who are fed up with all of the crap.
Like the rest of us.
Yep. And I think this is the best way to deal with these people, Carlos. Just get in their face and don't be violent. And I say it all the time. There's no need for violence. You will make them mad by just mocking them.
Exactly.
Just be disciplined.
Yeah.
That's the
just
deal.
Be like them, clap and yell things, and don't let them speak. They will lose their mind if you shut them down.
Honestly, the only problem that I have with it, and trust me, it ain't a big problem with it. I enjoy seeing these videos. It's my adult entertainment right now. Like I go home and I'm like, oh, watch like the trash can guys, okay? Like that. Like as soon as I hadn't seen that until Rhino put it out there when he called it LARPing. Like that was a legitimate laugh out loud moment yesterday. I was like, oh my God, he's totally right. I want to have us allow the left to tear apart the left. Because what this is, these are new school communists versus the old school. You have these colleges that decided institutionally, let's create these types of students. And then guess what? Once they created them, now they're attacking the the they're attacking their own.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's only a win for us if we stay out of it.
It is, but it is good to see kids that love this country. That's encouraging.
No, I do. I am encouraged by that. I'm just saying,
yes,
if we just let them fight amongst each other, there's no way to win.
Well, the good part is that, a lot of people have been afraid to speak up against these tyrannical minorities and being called racist, transphobic, whatever they want to throw out there. These kids are saying there's no reason to be afraid. And there's a lot of us. So join us and stop this crap. Stop these people from getting up and jumping around and doing this. We'll do it back, and let's do it in a fun, respectful way. All we have to do is chant one of three things: USA, Trump, or F. Joe Biden, and it will drive them insane.
That's right. Morning Xtra on Xtra 106.3. 8 o'clock hours brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier experts. 770-GET-HEAT or centralheat.com.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
By the way, Jeff, our good friend from Atlanta Safe House, tells me they watch on YouTube TV. That's where they watch the Braves game. So there's another place that you can go. And while you're going there, go up to Atlanta Safe House. Check out their showroom in Ackworth and all the great safes they have.
And watch our show on YouTube TV.
Yes, and you can watch ours on YouTube TV too. Yeah, we got to get like all those fancy commercials and stuff.
That's right.
All right, here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today. Friday, May 3rd, electric vehicle maker Rivian will be receiving $827 million in subsidies to support expansion at their Illinois plant to build the new R2 vehicle. The R2, a two-row vehicle, is a crossover that was supposed to have been launched in Georgia after the state gave the company $1.5 billion incentives to build a plant near Rutledge. Although Rivian has paused construction of the plant, they say they still plan to have it up and running by 2030. Cherokee County Sheriff's Office arrested 27-year-old Parth Patel after he tried to scam an 80-year-old woman from Cherokee County out of $200,000 worth of gold. Investigators say Patel is a lower-level associate in a much larger criminal organization based out of the UK and India. Deputies say the scammers claim they work with the U.S. Treasury and convinced her to buy $100,000 worth of gold. After she did, they called again and convinced her to buy another $200,000 worth of gold and meet in person. This time the police were there to intercept and arrest the scammer. And in sports, the Braves back in action tonight with a 3-game series against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Charlie Morton will be on the mound for the Braves this evening. First pitch is scheduled for 10:10 p.m. There's only one place you're going to catch all the action now, and that's our sister station, 680 The Fan.
When we come back on Extra 106.3, Southern Schools versus the Ivies. Whose side are you on? Next on the Morning Extra, Tug, Rhino, and Los until 10. The app, the best way to listen. YouTube TV, the best place. Or YouTube, I guess the YouTube channel. Not YouTube TV. That was Jeff talking about that. The YouTube channel. Extra 106.3 YouTube channel. Best place to watch this show.
The Kimmer Show is only live on Extra 106.3 every weekday afternoon on your drive home.
The Oregon case, the Supreme Court Oregon case, basically means that somebody said that they're teaching their children that, by God, you have a right to a house. If you can't find one on your own, the city where you live has the obligation to give you a place to live. I mean, who ever thought of that? That's what they're arguing, that if you get arrested for sleeping in a park, it's cruel and unusual punishment because the city owes you a house. Or a room, or I mean, oh my God.
It's called The Woods.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
All right, look, we talk about all the things going on around this country every single day, and we talk about whether or not you're going to be prepared in case of any kind of emergency. Guys, it's more than ever. It's time for you to make sure that your family is protected, and maybe you're just a little nervous and you don't know where to start. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, True Prep, Marietta, Cobb Parkway. They have a wonderful facility. You got to go check it out. It's huge. They've got everything you need, whether it is freeze-dried food, water filtration, first aid kits, and they even have a large selection of firearms, firearm accessories, and ammo, and it's all at the lowest prices around. Guys, these are locally owned and operated business, and they care about Georgia. They care so much that they even put workshops together if you're new to this. You could go to their website, trueprep.com, and you could find great workshops like Introduction to Preparedness. In other words, go ahead, get in there. They'll tell you where to start. They also have great classes if you're new to owning an AR-15. Let's say you go down there, you buy one. Well, they have a cleaning prep class, how to break it apart, how to put it together, everything you need care and maintenance wise when it comes to the AR-15. Plus, they care about the community. They even have civics meetings all the time there at True Prep. You got to go check them out. Go there now. Head over there. Marietta, Cobb Parkway, or just go visit them online at trueprep.com. That's TRUprep.com. Prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow with True Prep.
Marketing is everywhere. From the billboards on the highways to the notifications on your phone, we are constantly bombarded with people trying to sell us stuff. What makes good marketing? Are you doing enough in your life personally and professionally to market yourself? You have questions, and the Marketing Madmen have answers. Tune in every Saturday, now at 4 p.m., right here on Extra 106.3 to get practical marketing advice from expert guests who are shaping and reshaping the business world. They say marketing is a madman's game. Join the Marketing Madmen every Saturday at 4 p.m. to find out why.
You have enough to deal with after an accident. You don't want to spend a lot of that time messing around with insurance companies. Besides, what are you going to say to them? You really know the ins and outs? David Van Sant at Van Sant Law does. He used to work for the insurance companies. Their worst nightmare. He knows who to call, what to say, how to listen to him, and he has your best interest at heart. Van Sant Law, 855-GA-INJURY. VanSantLaw.com, 855-GA-INJURY.
Principal Software Engineer, R&D Cloud Platform positions offered by Manhattan Associates Incorporated in Atlanta, Georgia. Manage projects and development of detailed design specifications in connection with the development and implementation processes for Manhattan's supply chain products and services. Oversee the facilitation of technology and skills knowledge transfer. Employee reports to office in Atlanta, Georgia. Position may work from home but must live within commuting distance of stated office. Apply online at www.manh.com/about-us/careers.
From now until Mother's Day, Solomon Brothers Jewelers is offering an exclusive deal. Receive a complimentary Big Green Egg Grill with any qualifying jewelry purchase. It's the perfect opportunity to fulfill Mom's wish list with stunning pieces like a diamond tennis bracelet, diamond stud earrings, or a timeless eternity band, all crafted to last a lifetime. Plus, while you're treating Mom, why not treat yourself too? Take home a Big Green Egg Grill courtesy of Georgia Spa Company. But wait, this deal isn't just for Mom. Whether you're celebrating a birthday, welcoming a new addition to your family, or simply want to show someone special how much you love them, this offer is for you too. Our incredible showrooms guarantee that you'll find the perfect gift for your mom or loved one at just the right price. So visit us anytime now until Mother's Day at any of our 3 locations in Buckhead, Alpharetta, or Peachtree City and find the perfect gift for any occasion with the extra gift for yourself of a free Big Green Egg Grill. Online at SolomonBrothers.com or on Instagram at Solomon Brothers.
Election coverage is more than polls and numbers. It's about what matters in your life and your community. And Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station cares about your community, your voice, and most importantly, your vote. So keep it all here for the latest and download the Extra 1063 app and keep up with Atlanta's only conservative voice.
It's like us versus them a little bit. I mean, it's SEC, ACC versus the Ivies. And I know where my allegiance falls just on the surface, so I can only imagine where it would fall when you get a little deeper below the surface. 8 o'clock hours brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier experts. It's just one of a few second-generation, locally owned HVAC companies in Atlanta. With Central, you're not just a number, you're a member of the family. So we talked about Ole Miss. We brought them in, but there are several schools, several universities that are showing up, and man, I'm glad to see it.
I think a lot of this is going to make people rethink about where you're sending your kids to school, because we had the scenario earlier this year where out of our gym, one of the girls committed to Harvard. I thought, man, what a point of pride to have that happen.
It used to be.
And that's the deal. It's like ordinarily, if you told me that you were headed to one of the Ivy League schools, if you went to Penn, you're going to Columbia, you're going to Harvard, I would say, wow, like what an accomplishment.
Good for you.
But you start to see what is going on at these universities and the sort of people that they're looking to admit and the sort of curriculum they're giving them, the sort of education they're giving them. And it suddenly screams state school to me.
It does.
Like suddenly I'm like, you know what? Clemson sounds awesome, and it should be awesome.
Now it sounds like DeKalb County. Like community college. That's what it sounds like when you have a girl that goes, well, we showed up to New York, like university, because we don't like Jews and stuff. And they're like, why? And she's like, I don't know, I'm not educated.
I wish
like,
they were more
where
educated.
do you go? Well, I came from Columbia. Like, wait, you came from an Ivy League and you tell us you're not educated and your friend's not educated?
Yeah.
What's going on there?
But you're out here raising hell
Yeah.
about something you're not educated about.
Exactly. But I love what's going on in the South, and I love what's going on in Alabama, Ole Miss, and even Georgia. Yes, there's protesters. Yes, it looks like a sanctuary city to some, but they still have shut it down.
Well, Florida set the tone for this entire thing a week and a half ago of saying, you're welcome, but here's what's going to happen. And I heard, actually, it was Clay Travis that was talking about this a couple days ago, because his son is his oldest, I believe, is 16, 17 years old, and he's going to be dealing with this of where you're going. And he talked about, I want my son at Tennessee. I want my son at Georgia. I want my son at...
Sure.
And he's naming all these, essentially, ACC, SEC footprint schools.
Tennessee.
And you recognize, man, because look what you're seeing on their campus of the fight back and the pushback versus what you're seeing up in the Northeast.
Imagine being pro-America. I mean...
Crazy, huh?
It's a novel concept. That you love the country you're from. That you see everything in the world, including yourself, has flaws. But is it the best place on earth to be? And the answer is and always will be yes.
That's the wonderful part about this is no matter where you're from, you can still love your former country, but now you love your country more when you're here. You came here for a reason to get away from something there. It doesn't mean that country, there aren't good parts of that country, but you came here for a reason. Respect that, love that, and embrace it. Work hard and be a part of this, but they don't want to anymore. And it's not even, when you see people who came here from other countries and they've gone through this, it's amazing to talk to them, because when you hear from these crazy white women that are on the campus, because I've never seen more women protesting like this than men. Like, the guys are getting caught up in it. Like I said yesterday, every once in a while there's a guy who's like, yo, I'm look at me. I'm not
hot,
really,
man.
she was really hot. I'm ugly.
She told me to come down here.
Like, she told me to come down here. I came down here, bro. Let me go. But yeah, this is something that I think right now the other kids and kids who love this country in the Southeastern Conference are standing up and saying, we've had enough.
This is SEC country.
SEC.
But
it just means more.
Yeah.
I think about it with my daughter. Where would I want to send my oldest daughter to school? I know, my younger daughter, it's at 9 years old, it doesn't hit me quite yet. At 13, as she's getting ready to head into high school, this starts to hit me a little bit differently. And for the longest time, it's always been, well, what elite private school can we get her to? Where can she, scholarship to? And I'm thinking to myself, why would I want to do that? Like,
what's the point now?
Why would I take all these years of education and basically put her in a place where she's going to be looked at and treated as like the weird outcast because she believes in self-determination? And she looks at it as we're going to
gender studies.
She's going to look
never
at
took it.
Well, she failed it because she's like, no, man, girl, dad taught me that.
My daughter has a mentality. Her mentality is, we're keeping score. And I want to be on the right end of it.
That's right.
And that mentality is not present with a lot of these kids.
These people are on the wrong side of history.
And then
that's the crazy part.
And then the adults
don't recognize it.
And then the adults that they bus in to then glom onto this stuff. It's like, I'm sorry, I don't want my daughter in that sort of environment.
But that's where that's the crux of the whole matter anyway, right? Mm-hmm. This is all the guys under. We hate Israel. We love the Palestinians. This is there may be a section of that, a smidge of that, but we know these are more communist agitators. These are paid people by people like George Soros and the Open Society Foundation. They have found something that they can agitate with, and they use that to catapult into the bigger discussion, which is we want a communist socialist nation in America, and this is our way to get to it.
Yeah, so, what went on yesterday, too, by the way, at Portland State, let's talk about that, because what they have is community jail support. This has been what's sent out to all the students, and this isn't about Islam. This isn't about Gaza. It's all, they tell you what to do. Write your name and write this phone number in your body on, in Sharpie. Do this, do that. They're planning this out for destabilization.
By the way, I've now seen the video from the opposite end of the woman who was approaching the frat guys, and they were yelling at her. You know what they were yelling at her?
What's that?
They were chanting Lizzo.
Oh,
that's funny. Because you can see from the opposite side, the cop is smiling like okay, that's pretty
funny.
harmless and funny. And they're chanting Lizzo, Lizzo. And that's why she got so upset.
Of course it is. Of course, man.
We're back, America.
Yes.
We're back.
We're back. We are back.
See, you were wrong, Los.
Yeah, we're back. We're worth fighting for. The fight on college campuses, the riots on college campuses, and then the comparison to January 6th on MSNBC, that almost shut it down. Shut down the complete network. Man, they were having none of it. We'll talk about it next after a boards report and a Fox News update.
Time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.
First of all, this morning, a personal note. I'm in Miami. I live in Naples. I haven't been this glad to live in Naples for ages. Why? Because I've just seen Miami. Even though I'm on a vacation, now listen to this, a vacation from retirement, I had to listen to the news about the unrest, they call it, on college campuses. And last night, I can't say I was surprised, but I learned that about half of these protesters that they are arresting are what they call outside agitators. What a shocker. Who didn't know that? A couple of questions. Where's all the plywood coming from? These protesters are using sheets of plywood to block their little encampments from the police. Plywood is pricey. Have you bought a sheet of plywood lately? Very expensive, and these kids, these useful idiots, are begging for food. They call it humanitarian aid. They can afford plywood, but not food? No, somebody's bringing them the plywood. They're unloading it from trucks. Where's it coming from? Me? I think George Soros. Another question, where are the organizers? These outside agitators, where are they coming from? Somebody paid their airfare. Somebody is paying for their hotel accommodations. I'm sure the protesters aren't doing that. Again, who's doing it? Again, I suggest George Soros. So come on, news media, let's get to the bottom of this. Start some investigations. Go up to a truck unloading plywood and say, who sent you? Find out something. The people of this country are getting curious. And by the way, the term useful idiots now has more meaning for us than ever. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
Get ready for unfiltered conversations on The Janelle King Show, where we tackle the topics that you won't hear at your family gatherings, but they're absolutely crucial for a strong republic. Don't miss us live every Saturday at 3 p.m. and every Sunday at 9 a.m. right here on Extra 106.3. But if you can't tune in, that's okay. You can catch new episodes every Tuesday on the Podcast Park or wherever you prefer to get your podcasts. Join us for these discussions, and I can't wait to meet you there.
Hey fans, Xander from Atlanta Painting Company here, and with spring on the horizon, the home team won't be the only ones painting corners in Atlanta. This spring, save 10% off all exterior projects and get a free color consultation. We understand how valuable your home is to protect your investment with our industry-leading warranty and unmatched customer service. Don't just take our word for it. We have over 900 Google reviews telling you why we are the painters you can trust. Ready to get started? Visit us online at atlantapaintingcompany.com to schedule your free home consultation. The Atlanta Painting Company, painters you can trust.
The Kimmer Show is only on Extra 106.3 every weekday afternoon on your drive home.
Which party has their hands in every aspect of your life, from birth to death? The Democrats.
And it's gotten worse. Look at everything. $5 a gallon. I mean, wars, protests.
Telling you what car you can drive and what you have to have an electric car in the next 30 years. You got to do this. You can't have a gas oven anymore.
That's right.
I mean, every aspect of your life, they're telling you what to do.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app. WFOM and W292 EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. The 9 a.m. hour is presented by Southern Exteriors. Quality and precision you can.
A slowdown in hiring, a tick up in unemployment. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and a report that's just out this morning.
There were fewer new jobs created in April than forecast. The Labor Department says the economy added 175,000 new jobs last month, a 5-month low. The unemployment rate rose to 3.9%.
Fox's Ginny Casola, despite the hiring slowdown, a surge is brewing at the stock market. Dow futures up nearly 500 points. Former President Trump just posted on Truth Social those job numbers are horrible. He'll soon be in court for more testimony at his first criminal trial. He keeps calling it persecution. The day after the jury heard a recording of Trump and lawyer Michael Cohen discussing a payment to Karen McDougal to keep her quiet about an alleged affair before the 2016 election.
The former president first told Cohen to pay with cash. Then he tells him to use a check. That's really important because the defense will certainly point out that, a check leaves a record of the transaction, showing in Mr. Trump's mind that there was nothing illegal or wrong about what they say was just a typical and standard non-disclosure agreement with McDougal.
Fox's Eric Shawn outside the court. The former president's not charged in that payment. He is charged with falsifying records and payments to keep Stormy Daniels quiet about their alleged affair. Yet another pro-Palestinian encampment broken up.
Palestine's almost free!
That's at New York University, where police showed up 3 hours ago in Manhattan.
They're now starting to clear out the encampment here. They've made really quick work of this. The tents are all completely gone. They're now sweeping and collecting all of the items that are there.
Fox Business Network's Madison Allworth at NYU. 56 arrests reported there and at the new school, where an encampment was also cleared nearby. The Biden administration is doing more for so-called dreamers. Immigrants brought to the U.S. illegally as children and shielded from deportation under the Obama-era DACA program. They'll be allowed to enroll in Obamacare next year for health care coverage. America's listening to Fox News.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself.
Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95 and comes with our Feel Better or Your Money Back guarantee. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Hey gang, it's your old friend Neil Bortz. You can catch me every Tuesday morning here on the Morning Extra. Now back to Tug, Rhino, and Carlos on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra. And let me tell you, Merle Haggard fits the moment for today. The fighting side of me, when you're running down my country house, you walking on the fighting side of me. Nobody better to describe the love for America, love for country than mighty Merle Haggard. So a good one here on a Friday.
They're running down our country, man. They're walking on the fighting side of me.
There we go, man. That's what those kids down there at Ole Miss are listening to. That's what the kids at North Carolina are listening to. Is Merle Haggard talking about how great America is and how it is worth fighting for and how it is worth showing up for. We just saw in the monitor here in the studio, there were Jewish students at NYU that are out there. And Los, you brought up the best point. You could see their face. You could see what they were talking about. Rhino brought about, the fact that they're articulate or one of you, regardless.
I said they were able to articulate their points. You actually see their face, and they're not hiding.
No, they're not. They're not hiding at all.
From?
No, right. Well, they have nothing to hide from. The other groups have something to hide from. I want to go, we're talking about what's going on in Portland, too, because I think that's a big story. They broke in, they left, they stole all these really rare items and books, and then they went back. And and it's being reported by CNN and CBS and everybody else. Oh, these aren't students. Okay, this is called Black Flag Library. Okay, this is the name of the group. And here's what they put out the other day. We are going to be at IJSA doing jail support. Okay, remember, we are a group of anarchists who believe in community support and mutual aid. All of our supplies as well as the space is available to everyone. This is an opportunity for folks who want to support their comrades. Also, see what's going on in jail support is all about. You're going to be arrested and incarcerated. They are anarchists. These aren't the students. So everybody that keeps throwing out there that these are students, this is what's going on. They give them everything they need to do. An arraignment, they will set your bail. Cops will be trying to get information out of you. Once your bail's set, they tell them everything to do and how they are going to bail them out. That's what's going on.
The thing that you said that caught my attention more than anything is everyone is welcome. Like what is you're telling me Jewish students?
No.
You're going to tell me somebody that's holding the American flag are welcome?
Yeah,
what a bunch of fools! What a bunch of clowns! What a bunch of bozos!
Here's what else they tell these kids. Okay, write the Mass Defense Hotline number 971-247-1072 on your body in Sharpie. Find a buddy. Stay tight. Tell someone that you're going to be there. Now turn off all of the tracking on your iPhone before you get to the protest. Make sure you wear a mask. Take meds as needed. Bring a small, they give them everything they need to do and continue to go on. Then they go into what's going to happen when you get arrested. And they call them comrades.
Yes, of course.
Isn't that funny, Carlos?
Interesting.
Morning Extra and Extra 106.3. I see a lot of comparisons. You know, when you're on like the different news outlets, when you go and check them out, they'll compare, how crazy the right is what they'll say. Is they'll call the right crazy. And I can't help but notice that just like with these Israeli students, they're not doing anything crazy. They're actually out there articulating the point and how wrong these protesters are.
So Columbia got trashed. We saw what happened to UCLA, with the spray painting and just the whole, all these environmentalists, and look at all the crap that they left out there. It's awful. But Al Sharpton stepped in on MSNBC. And I want you to take a listen. You'll hear like Scarborough immediately step up like, oh my God, you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
He made a comparison, and it was a legitimate comparison. And take a listen, because MSNBC has tried to stand on the moral high ground for 4 years of, we don't do that.
That's right.
And then this happened.
How do the Democrats, how do all of us on that side say January 6th was wrong if you can have the same pictures going on college campuses?
Lord, don't make a parallel with January 6th.
You lose the moral high ground.
That has happened, though. Okay.
That has happened.
So we know what's going on here.
Micah Brzezinski's like, no, don't do that.
How could you?
And Scarborough's like, how quickly do we transition to this? Because old man Al Sharpton said something that they've been watching and going, yeah, it looks pretty nasty.
Do not go against our propaganda for the Democrat Party. What are you doing?
But this is, remember, the young communists going after the old guard communists. And the old guard on MSNBC has been getting to stand on the moral high ground of like, January 6th, the worst thing ever. Listen, you did that to our cities all summer long.
Yeah.
And you were surprised that this clapped back at you?
But then when they discussed, though, the Summer of Love, it was peaceful protests, mostly peaceful protests.
I saw those burnt-out buildings in Minneapolis when I was there last summer.
You would look at things on fire, and they had the audacity to say, as the city was on fire, that this is mostly peaceful.
Mostly peaceful.
How could you mistake it for anything else? But then January 6th was the worst day ever.
Well, mostly peaceful.
Mostly peaceful. And Al Sharpton, in accidental journalism, as Los calls it all the time, nails it, and MSNBC just doesn't know what to do with it.
They went running for the hills is what they did.
How do we change the subject? We've got to get off this topic because
this is why again, outside of the blatant anti-Semitism, outside of the blatant anti-Americanism, anti-Western society, this is delicious.
Yeah.
Look at these fools fight with each other in the way that they are. This is the ultimate in man bites dog, dog bites man. Like, they're both doing it to each other.
I know you realize it. I think we all, just because we watch it so much.
Like, we want to get involved from our patriotic side and for defending our Jewish brethren, our Israeli brethren. At the same time, let them burn each other down.
Let them do it.
Let them do it.
You're right, but I don't think most Americans see it that way. Unless you explain it, unless you say, here's what's happening, because all they see is tearing down America. That's what they see. No matter what channel they turn it on, it's tearing down America, and they hate seeing that.
Imagine it this way. Imagine you have the old school baby boomer communists, right? And they found their way into the university system, the political system, and they were teaching these kids the same thing for the better part of the last 15, 20 years. To the point where when we hit 9/11, they're like, you know what, Osama bin Laden might have been right. Remember, that was one of the things that came from TikTok.
Yeah.
So they've been indoctrinated by nothing but this sort of information. And they come back to go after the old school communists.
Yeah, because you're not communist enough.
You're not communist enough.
But they did it to themselves.
No, of course they did.
Sure.
But
I let it go, man. Let it go. Let them destroy their cities. Let them destroy Portland. You voted for this. And if you're in Portland, if you're in Los Angeles, if you're in New York or Chicago, and you voted for this, you deal with it. Don't ask us to come in and save you anymore.
Well, they will, though.
Of course they will. But you know what? We're not going to do it. And I think that's the important part. Let's let them destroy their own cities. Let them do their own thing and let them handle it, because eventually the people like in San Francisco are going to be like, we've had enough. We're going to more conservative values. You're starting to see it in New Orleans. They're getting more conservative.
Portland
because
even too.
Portland,
a little bit with the law, changing the laws about the hard drugs.
I have too much respect for DOG, but I'll bring up your dog. Tug, what's your dog's name?
Cash.
Okay, good old Cash. Imagine that you decided as of tomorrow, I want Cash to be a fighting dog. Okay? So you start training up Cash to be just mean, and you start feeding him like motor oil and stuff like that. Just stuff that makes Cash crazy. And then one day, Cash comes over and bites your nipples off. Okay,
Yeah,
like
it's
just
a bad
attacks
day,
you,
yeah.
and you're like, "Wow, this is awful." That's what's happened here.
That's right.
This is the university system has created this element within society, and now it's coming back to come get the university
Coming back
system.
to haunt them. Yeah. Does it change though? And I don't think it does. By
Could be
and
something
large.
other than your nipples. I just came up with nipples.
Yeah,
Like,
well, yeah, leg maybe even.
Yeah, maybe
Ankle, because he's a small dog.
Well, okay.
Yeah, but it makes me wonder though. At any point, do the universities see the ills of their ways? And if it is, it will be forced on them, because I don't believe they will either. Because at the top of every one of these universities is a freaking flaming leftist liberal.
Yeah.
Until you...
And so are your professors.
Right.
They're standing out there holding, locking arms. They're not going to go... The presidents aren't going to go against the professors, are they?
No, of course not. And that's the thing, though. Until there's actual balance of ideas and the ability to share ideas openly, and it's encouraged on college campuses, you're going to continue to get exactly what we're getting now.
The less infiltration of Western society started at our university level. And what they did was they created their own echo chambers where they only say the things that they all believe in. They only get to indoctrinate themselves with the stuff that they want to get into. This is the birthplace of DEI. Okay, it all comes out of our university systems. They've created this entire environment where it looks the way they want it to, it sounds the way they want it to, and now it's coming back to bite them. Because they created these students and these people that believe in this crap.
And that's the fear that I have, is that nothing is going to change, even when this calms down, and it will eventually.
There'll be certain universities.
Yeah.
Again, your state schools with again, depends on the faculty, depends on what they're teaching, and depends on just the element on campus.
Yeah, I just wonder.
If you recruit well, you tend not to do this.
Yeah, right, exactly. If your football team is
If your
good,
football team's
or
good, you
even
recruit well.
decent. Yeah, if your football team is decent, you don't put up with the nonsense that we're seeing. And that's... And I hope that's what we'll continue to see. I really hope that we continue to see teaching to think, not what to think. That's what I want to see. I mean, that's what we hope for. That's the reason you send your kids to school.
What I would like to see, and I would really love to see, let's be honest, is that we actually go and take care of business. We already know the FBI and DOJ could track down any Jan 6 person that walked into the Capitol for just protesting. We know these people. Okay, Alyssa Azar, she is an Antifa member. She's part of the people that went into the library. She is notably a person who has destroyed and is violent and is a domestic terrorist. She's right there. How are our DOJ and our FBI not going and getting her, along with John Herman and the rest of them? They're all right there. We know their names. We know where they are. And yet the DOJ and FBI does not want to stop this. Why? Answer.
Because they believe in it. They support it in many cases. The other reason is because they would have you believe. Christopher Wray said, we don't monitor protests. Well, that's interesting.
These aren't protests. These are riots.
I agree with you, but it's interesting how he said they don't monitor protests when it comes to college campuses and these kids, burning down things and taking over buildings and then asking for food like fools. But yet, the protest at the Capitol, they used people's cell phone data to track them down. They monitored that protest.
Of course.
They continue to monitor that protest years after it was done.
Well, they said that,
All right. Do you want the audio or do you want me to read this? So one of the UNC frat guys went on Fox News.
Yeah, he was on, was it Jesse Waters last night, or has he been on this morning too?
So it's
I just
right
saw
now
the promo.
It's listed as their Fox News Digital.
Okay.
So, all right. So they were talking about holding the flag and protecting the flag. And he goes on to say, "We're not going anywhere. I don't care. They're going to have to tear me off this flag over my dead body. Don't bend the knee to these people. They want to take over. They want to just destroy what this country stands for. So take a stand, be a man, take a stand."
That's exactly right, man.
Is that not exactly what we're trying to teach these young people?
That's what you want to teach them. That's what you hope they go to a college to learn. How to think for themselves. How to say, these are my values, and I am not ashamed of them.
Yeah.
That's like when I said last hour that people actually love America. I know you're not supposed to say that. People act like that is some sort of slander to say, yeah, I actually love this country. I think this country is a wonderful place, and it gives most people the most opportunity in the world, and it always has.
And the communists ain't played nobody.
No, I know, right?
That's what it is. They ain't played nobody.
Their schedule's weak.
Their schedule's weak. They're 2-0 or 3-0. But they ain't played nobody.
Right.
So what you get around here?
That's right. Wait till they come on and take on an SEC
you go.
schedule.
Look what you can do in New York. All right.
Exactly. Yeah, which
try that in Tuscaloosa.
That's right.
So funny.
Love it. No, it's the greatest,
I love
man.
it. I love it.
And I hope it continues. That's what I want to see.
Masculinity is coming back, and we're seeing it in our young men, which is so great to see. And it's in a respectful way. We've seen our young men on college campuses stand up for females in sports, standing up. Even in high school, we've seen kids walk out and say, boys walking out and saying, these girls should not have a man in their locker room. We're starting to see masculinity come back. We're no more of these little Antifa members with their little hair buns running around and their tight jeans. Enough is enough. Be a man. And you know what? I'm glad that you're raising a man. I'm raising a man. You know, you're raising two beautiful women, and they're going to be smart. They're going to be better off. And hopefully more people are out there doing that.
Yeah, us tofu eaters get a bad rap.
Well, yeah,
so
but
good,
I
man.
think
I had
it's
some yesterday.
You say
But
that
it's yummy
in jest. I
yummy.
don't enjoy tofu, but everything else you've eaten and that you've introduced me to has been great.
I forgot to bring it. It was just I was trying to head out the door. It's like 4:55, and I'm like, I need to stop and get gas. I had these stuffed portobello mushrooms last night.
Sounds like a home run to
They
me.
were awesome, and I was going to bring you one because I had
wish you would've.
3, and I
wish you
forgot.
would have. Well, but you can't. But that's the thing. I want to point out that Los, he is eating the way he eats, not because he's a soy boy, not because
my heart will explode.
It's exactly
For some reason,
right.
I don't process red meat very well.
But so when you hear him making fun of himself for being a soy boy, I want you to know why he's doing it, and it's not because he sides with some of these clowns on college
Well,
campuses.
when I saw their demands, when they were like, "We want all vegan food," with
That
all
was
this,
so funny.
I went, "Can you leave me like some leftovers?" Like
Right.
that's,
That's good
that
stuff.
demand didn't seem too extreme to me.
Yeah,
But the rest of it,
and I
was
know
like,
I know
whatever.
now I'll never show up. They just said no bagels.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that's how anti-Semitic they are.
Wow.
They don't even want
Who said
bagels.
this? Wait, I missed something.
Antifa, all these places, they had lists of food that you could bring in. It was all
got it.
vegan, bring this, that, the other, and they go,
wouldn't allow the bagel.
no bagels.
Yeah, the everything bagel. Like it's a friend to everybody.
Yeah.
Why are they picking on the bagel?
Because they hate Jews.
Was that really the reason?
They're
you
very,
think?
they're very
what else
angry.
would be the
What?
reason?
I can't
It's a
think of
Jewish
any.
food.
It's kind of synonymous. I mean, like put it this way: you go into a Jewish deli, you judge it by the bagel.
Yeah. Holy cow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
that's how I am. I'm like,
that's mind-boggling. Like it never even crossed my mind.
Yeah, they have a whole list of like what you can bring to support them and no bagels.
there's some things that you've learned this week.
I know, no kidding, man. Holy
Also,
cow.
no peanuts because, someone might have an allergy on campus.
The banana thing was hilarious.
The banana thing
the
is
person who has a banana
unbelievable.
allergy, so they started showing up with bananas.
Holy cow.
Everybody started throwing bananas at them.
And that's the thing. Like my son's allergic to peanuts too, but I don't find offense to it.
Like,
you know what I mean?
does he like look at like Mr. Peanut and immediately be afraid?
Yeah, he's like,
oh God,
no.
Planters is coming.
It's coming to hug him.
Exactly.
Starts
Stay
freaking
away
out.
from me. Morning
I bet that
Extra.
guy smells like nuts.
On Extra 106.3, 9 o'clock hours brought to you by Southern Exteriors, the Southeast's premier home exterior solution and quality that you cannot find anywhere else. It's precision that you can rely on for the past 20 years. SouthernExteriors.co. Yes, the website, SouthernExteriors.co.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
All right, here are your top stories in the state of Georgia. For today, Friday, May 3rd, electric vehicle maker Rivian will be receiving $827 million in subsidies, support expansion at their Illinois plant to build the new R2 vehicle. The R2, a two-row vehicle, is a crossover that was supposed to have been launched in Georgia after a state gave the company $1.5 billion in incentives to build a plant near Rutledge. Although Rivian paused construction of the plant, they say they still plan to have it up and running by 2030. Cherokee County Sheriff's Office arrested 27-year-old Parth Patel after he tried to scam an 80-year-old woman from Cherokee County out of $200,000 worth of gold. Investigators say Patel is a lower-level associate in a much larger criminal organization based out of the UK and India. Deputies say scammers claim they worked with the U.S. Treasury and convinced her to buy $100,000 worth of gold. After she did, they called again and convinced her to buy $200,000 more worth of gold. and meet in person. This time, the police were there to intercept and arrest the scammer. And in sports, Georgia head coach Kirby Smart becomes the first $13 million a year coach in football. Smart received a new 10-year, $130 million deal that was approved by university officials on Thursday. Smart could also earn up to $1.5 million in bonuses.
I'm just going to piggyback on what Lo said. Look at the schedule. Look at the colleges that have good football teams. You don't see none of this nonsense. And they don't pay their coaches well in the Ivy League, I'm guessing. They don't pay them.
For what? Dude, you've had 2 wins.
Well, Dartmouth unionized for anybody else, their basketball team.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see how that turns out for them. Something tells me.
Ain't played nobody.
Penn's got men swimming on their women's team. The whole place is a mess.
What? You don't have that at Georgia.
How stupid.
You get national championships at the University of Georgia, the Southeastern Conference. They are so dumb. You're right. Jeff Criswell is running for Georgia 6, and he needs your help to win. We're going to have him on next here on Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station.
Stream Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, Glenn Beck, Fox News, and even NASCAR on Sundays. Anywhere on the Extra 106.3 app. Download the app now and get 24/7 access to the live stream, the latest news, and everything you need to know about Atlanta's only conservative talk station. Download the Extra 106.3 app for Apple or Android and check out even more great original content at thepodcastpark.com.
Hey Atlanta, it's Ben, host of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show, proudly brought to you by Peach State Pride. Each and every weekend, we bring you all the issues going on around the globe and what America's ultimate role is in order to drive our agenda forward as conservatives. And if you ever miss an episode, you can download everything I've ever done on Apple, Spotify, or you can go to the Podcast Park. See you around, Atlanta.
Neil Borch here. Maybe you've already taken the steps to improve your health, maybe save your life. You're using a CPAP for your sleep apnea. I've been using one for well over 20 years. So right now I'm here to tell you about a source for CPAPs and CPAP supplies here in the Atlanta area. CPAPs, etc. They're in Alpharetta. They have whatever you need. Roddy and Sharon are your CPAP experts, and they'll ship nationwide. More information, CPAPsETC.com.
Extra 106.3 listeners are falling in love with Nucky's Hoagies in Roswell.
Me and my wife now find our favorite sandwich place. That food over there was great.
Yeah, those rolls are so soft and sweet. I mean, it was just melt in your mouth. It was, and the steak was tender and juicy and flavorful. I can't say enough about it. It was very, very impressive.
It was so good.
Make Nucky's Hoagies in Roswell on Woodstock Road your new favorite spot for lunch or dinner. Nucky'sHoagies.com.
Well, Michael, I want to thank you for your time, but unfortunately, we can't offer you the position.
Why?
Well, we got the results of your background check, and quite frankly, we were concerned.
About what?
Apparently, you were arrested for throwing a shopping cart at a customer?
In my defense, he had it coming.
At Horizon Background Screening, we find things that other companies don't. That's why companies that use us make smarter hiring decisions. Don't let the wrong hire put your company at risk. Get the real story on your candidates at horizonscreening.com.
Senior Services Project Manager PSO positions offered by Manhattan Associates Incorporated in Atlanta, Georgia. Coordinate all aspects of a product or service offering for a client from inception to installation. Installations may involve acceptance of capitalized equipment or enterprise software systems, or system integration or consulting projects or engagement. Employee reports to office in Atlanta, Georgia. Position may work from home but must live within commuting distance of stated office. Apply online at www.manh.com/about-us/careers.
It's May 3rd, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. It's National Paranormal Day. Occurrences that can't be explained by ordinary scientific measures fall under the category of the paranormal. So, if you ever thought you had a run-in with a ghost, spook, or spirit, you've had a paranormal experience. Also, if you've ever experienced deja vu, clairvoyance, or had an extraterrestrial encounter, those fall into the paranormal category as well. So, get together with a group of friends, form a circle, and remember, the truth is out there. Also on this date, in 1923, the first non-stop North American transcontinental flight was completed as pilot Oakley Kelly started that flight at Roosevelt Field in Long Island, New York, and landed nearly 27 hours later at Rockwell Field in San Diego. If it's your birthday today, you share it with the Godfather of Soul, James Brown.
I feel good.
born in 1933. I'm Tushar Saxena with your Fox Daily Snapshot.
Wake up with the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3 Atlanta.
Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. We will be on the air until 10, another half hour or so, but we've got a really special guest in with us today. His name is Jeff Criswell, and he is running for Congress. He has such a unique story. We want you to go check out his website, jeffcriswell.com. It's jeffcriswell.com. You can make a donation there if you would like to support him. You can read about his priorities, Trump 2024. You can volunteer. There's all kinds of things you can learn about and be involved with on Jeff's website. And we welcome him to the show this morning. How are you, man?
I'm blessed and highly favored.
Yes, sir. Aren't we all? Aren't we all? I know you're a faithful man, which is the first thing that I took note because that's important to me, too.
Well, I mean, when people ask me why I'm running for Congress, literally, I mean, the Lord led me. I mean, totally, this is a product of me spending a lot of time with Jesus, prayer and fasting over the last several years. And God just put this on me, man. I grew up in the D.C. area, and I hated politics. It was so oppressive. And literally, just within the last 4 or 5 years, God put this on me.
I love that you are talking about religion. Now, I grew up, I'm Jewish. I grew up with a Roman Catholic father, too, so I grew up with both and both. But the one thing, and we'll go to a recent event. Yesterday, Marjorie Taylor Greene said she voted against the anti-Semitism bill. I'm with her. Whenever you get to a point where in gospel you are able to prosecute based on gospel with these bills that the left is putting through, what are you going to do when you get there to stop the attack on religion? Because that's what this is at this point.
I mean, that would obviously be one of my priorities. We have got to, in my view, we've got to maintain the hegemony of churches, the value of churches, of all religions, freedom of speech, freedom of religion. I mean, faith for me, I mean, God turned my life around. I believe God can turn this country around.
Jeff Criswell is our guest on the Morning Extra, and I always love the origin story, especially anyone who's running, whether it's national office or local office. There's always that one moment, and you said that you feel like you were called by God to do so. What was that moment, though, where you said, I really am going to do this? Like, I've been told, I've been taught this is what I'm supposed to do. When was that moment when you said, I'm really going to put myself out here like this?
Well, I got to tell you, I don't know if you believe in, like, divine breadcrumbs, where God is.
Just dropping little trails here, yeah.
So much of that. I cannot even describe.
Like, tell me about some of those. That's why I'm kind of curious.
Yeah. Like, seriously vivid, seriously tangible things where I just thought, oh my God, you've got to be kidding. So there's been a lot of that, okay? It'd be very hard for me to sort of describe that, but there's been a ton of that.
God winks, as they're known.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what we...
Oh my gosh, so frequently. So, I actually jumped on this last July, and I was living over in Gwinnett, and I was going to run in Georgia 7, which is where McBath was. Mm-hmm. And I knew something was up with the districts, and they were going to change the maps.
Sure.
I didn't realize how crazy it was going to get. So they blew up 7, and obviously created this new District 6, which is a black majority district. And I sort of I took pause. It's like, really, God, you want me to go do that? But yeah, again, total confirmation, total green light that I should be doing this.
Awesome.
It's an amazing realization when you're like, when you follow your faith and you actually do the things that you feel have been laid on your heart. And I think people listening right now probably are going, because I think most conservatives are very faithful people. Now, do they go to church every Sunday? I don't know the answer to that, but were they raised with an element of there is something more? And now I expect you to be that the gatekeeper or the guardian of freedom in America. And I you hear it in country music, you hear it in everyday conversation. There's something about living in the South, and I know you weren't born and raised in the South, but there's something about living in the South, like where it runs through my veins. It's just part of my existence. I don't have to separate. For me, I don't have to separate my church and my state. You know what I mean? Because they're all there together. So I admire that you're willing to act upon something that's so important. But are you scared of it a little bit because of all of the hatefulness and I was talking to my son yesterday about this, and he was like, I want nothing to do with politics. And I was like, bud, I understand, but at some point you may have to do something.
I have developed a rather significant callous when it comes to people saying mean things to me, or being.
No, you could work in radio too. Then, awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome aboard.
It's like, oh my God! It's just like I say. It's over the last several years. God has been preparing me for this. I sort of didn't realize it, but all I can say is I've developed a callous. People can say mean things to me. And I just get back to my faith, man. I was reading last night Ecclesiastes. Anger resides in the lap of a fool. No matter what somebody says something to me, or they're mean to me, or they say mean things about me, I've got the Lord. I've got
the ultimate shield.
Yeah. I'm operating on a different level here.
That's great. Lucy McBath is going to be a tough opponent. I mean, she is going to go after guns. She loves going after guns, and she's got her personal story to go along with it. She's very popular in there. What do you need to do, or what do you want to do to beat her? And what is the main, obviously, we talked about God, but the economy, inflation right now, that's what everybody's worried about, especially even in the middle class areas here in the 6th District. That's the most important thing. What are you going to do? How do we get this done, and how do we fix this now?
I don't think McBath has a lot of traction in District 6. She doesn't live over here. I don't think she's really got a lot of, I don't think her name, her brand, means as much over here as it did back in Gwinnett.
Yeah.
So I think she's looking at that right now. She's also not participating in these debates, even with her Democratic friends, okay, which to me is ridiculously bad. All right, if I'm a voter, I'm thinking they're taking me for granted, okay? I was at an event organized at a black church a couple of weeks ago, and they arranged the whole meeting around McBath's schedule. She was supposed to be there, and she didn't show up.
Oh.
And I could tell you that the body language of the people there was incredibly disappointed. We're going to get this. I promise you we're going to win this election. That's all I can tell you. Now, the Republicans have a 9-5 advantage in the House in Georgia right now. It's going to go to 10-4. I guarantee it.
Great.
It's going to happen. As far as my issues, immigration, obviously, it's ridiculous. Come on, man. It's bizarre. It's Twilight Zone. Cost of living. Got to take care of the cost of living, inflation. And we got to do something about the national debt. We're spending money that we don't have. $35 trillion in debt.
We're $1 trillion every 3 months.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. So those would be 3 of the big things that I'll be campaigning on.
Jeff Criswell is our guest. He's running for Georgia 6th. I want to ask you about this because, you talk about being in a district that you're going to be looking to represent, predominantly a black district. And I think it's really incredible because when you talk about illegal immigration, this is hitting minority communities harder than anyone else. And I think that's the thing that a lot of times the national media, they know and pick it up. It does not resonate with them. But when you go into any of these community centers and you start talking about these jobs and where they're going, I think that resonates with anyone who live in those communities.
Oh, absolutely. At the top of the ticket, you've got Biden and Trump. And I can tell you that, in my opinion, it looks like a lot of Democrats are very dissatisfied with Joe Biden. I'm talking a significant exodus from Biden to Trump. And when they go to Trump, I believe, sort of reflexively, they're going to vote down ballot. They're going to vote down ballot.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I would like to think that was the case, or will be the case. We're talking to Jeff Criswell. You can visit his website, jeffcriswell.com.
And Jeff, everyone we talk to, even those that are Democrats, have been lifelong Democrats, they echo the same thing. It's just, you want to see it.
It's
I think right. that's
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
I guarantee it's going to happen. And I think they know it, but it's coming. And it's going to surprise them. They're either going to have a lot of apathy with people not showing up at all. They're going to have people voting independent, or they're going to have a ton of people voting for Trump. It's going to be a significant hit in Georgia.
Do you believe, as we do, that these college campus protests are less about Palestine and Israel and more about transitioning the United States to a socialist style nation or a communist style nation, because that's what it appears to be. All these paid agitators, they've glommed onto a particular topic. It was BLM, now it's this, but it's the same type of people that they have the same goal ultimately for this country.
We've got to do anything and everything to not let socialism take root in the United States. This is a capitalist country. This is all about the American dream. It's about being an entrepreneur. It's about getting educated and going for a dream. So, somebody that wants to come in with a lot of government and, DC telling me what to do and when to do it, I'm not for it.
How, though, is a very important question to me. And I ask candidates because I hear it all the time. I hear everybody tell me, oh, well, I'm going to get rid of inflation. I'm going to work on the economy. I'm going to lower the cost of living. And as much as I hear that, I don't hear answers to how are we going to do that. What are the things that you would push forward and make sure that we get through Congress, that we'll get to the Senate to be voted on to fix the problem with the cost of living, to fix the problem with the economy right now?
Those are good questions. I can tell you that when I get to D.C., I'm going to have to sit down with a lot of the folks, frankly, even from Georgia, and take a very hard look at some of these issues and see, how to vote, when to vote, et cetera.
So do you think like what Marjorie Taylor Greene's doing right now? Because I think that our speaker has gone off the deep end and has started working too much with Democrats, and I kind of agree with her. Do you think that, stopping this spending and starting to focusing on these bills, is that something that you're willing to do? Would you stand with her and say, hey, we want the people in here and we want to hear from the people and their thoughts?
I mean, when it comes to spending money, absolutely. I would say, what the bleep are we doing? Okay, you cannot spend money that you don't have. Mm-hmm. That much I know. I know that
they don't know that yet.
Well, you're a businessman, of course you know that.
Well, I mean,
right?
Everybody knows that. I mean, as an individual, you're $5,000, $10,000 in the hole. You pay attention to that. The government is $35 trillion. What are we doing?
See, and I think there's the power. We are a decade and a half removed from the single biggest push in 2010 where state houses, locally, nationally, the Republican Party was ushered in and was basically told, quit the spending. That was a whole Tea Party movement. And I think that we're ripe there again to recognize stop the spending. No is a really important word that you can use. It works on children and it works in government as well.
I think when President Trump gets in this time, his second term is going to be so effective. I really believe that, his legacy right now, he's got some issues. I believe when he gets in, he's going to put a stamp on his presidency. He's going to put a stamp on his legacy. He's going to leave this country in such good shape. I truly believe that.
If he sells energy, we're back in it. Would you have funded Ukraine?
That's such a hard question because on a humanitarian basis, I'm looking at what's happened to Ukraine. It's ravaged. It looks like World War II. Mortality, people fleeing, etc. On the other hand, $60 billion, we don't have it.
Well, but even on top of that,
those are hard choices. That's exactly it.
They are hard choices, but
$60 billion gets 100,000 more Ukrainians killed.
And that's always the concern, is that the continuation of funding there continues a fight that continues to have Ukrainians dying by large numbers. It almost feels like it's the unintended consequences of what we mean to do. I always say that the opposite side, the left always wants to say, judge me by my intentions, not my results. The results are hundreds of thousands dead because we keep funding stuff going on over there.
Talking to Jeff Criswell on Extra 106.3. Check out his website, jeffcriswell.com. You make a donation there. He's running for Georgia 6. But to continue that, because the generals on the ground in Ukraine are saying, we can't win this war. We can't. It doesn't matter how much money is sent, no matter how much weapons. We don't have the people to do it. That would open the door to NATO troops. That would open the door to U.S. troops. I mean, it just seems like a snowball effect, and I don't think it's a good snowball effect.
I think President Trump, when he gets in there, is going to get on the red line and call Putin, and hopefully we can work something out. I don't think Putin's a good guy.
None of us do.
I think they repress dissent. They send people off to gulags. They murder people. At this point, you're picking between the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, we've talked about this quite a bit ever since, obviously the coup that went on in Ukraine in 2016. it is possible that you have a conflict where no one's the good guy. And so we're trying to pick the lesser of two evils, and I would prefer that when I was living through the Donald Trump era, it was, all right, y'all want to do something about this, but you're not doing it on my watch. We had peace throughout the entire world on his watch.
Yeah, I will say this, okay? When Trump came into office, everybody was squawking, oh, he's a loose cannon. He's going to drag us into wars. Oh, man, we've got to handcuff him. In the meantime, when Biden gets in, everybody sees that weakness. The man is a vegetable. Okay, he is literally his mind is in a jar over at Walter Reed Hospital. Okay, he is a vegetable. Everybody knows it. 4 more years, and we are really putting ourselves at risk.
It is scary because, we even talked to Buddy Carter about it. We feel like we're losing this country. We're losing the republic based on what the Biden administration has done, and they are introducing socialism. They even call themselves Democrat socialists. And that is the scary part for me, is that we do need to fight back. And I'm hoping Donald Trump does get it doesn't make any sense that he would not win this election, and to have good conservatives in. I mean, I'm hoping that you'll follow that way and we can get back our energy and start selling things again in this country.
There is no way when I get to Washington, there is no chance that I will betray the trust that is put into me by the voters of the 6th District. I promise you that. I mean, I just cannot be, emphatic enough. I will not betray the trust of the voters who send me to D.C.
Jeff Criswell as our guest, and I think that's important because I can put all of us on the show. There are people that when they have their principled views, they are very hard to have them sway by just the media or by pop culture. I talked about Thomas Massey earlier this week, where Thomas Massey just said, here's the area where I'm not going. There's just this area when it comes to spending that I cannot put my constituents in these kind of problems any longer and vote for this sort of stuff. That's that principled conservatorship that I think we're all looking for. And if that's what you represent, I'm glad you're on this show.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need more of it. We need more of it throughout all of
You
DC.
hang out with us for a little bit longer?
Man. Sure.
We'd love to have
with
talk.
Jeff Criswell. JeffCriswell.com is his website. He's running for Georgia 6, and he will continue next on Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station. Tug, Rhino, and Los, all the way up to 10.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's Pete, and here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
I know a lot of us are sitting around in amazement at the absolute insanity that is being demonstrated by these students or pupils at elite colleges. Lenin, the leader of the Communist Revolution, had a name for these idiots. They were useful idiots.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
You shouldn't need a degree in finance to choose a checking account. That's why we made Truist One Checking. No trade-offs, no compromise, no hassle. Just the stuff you want from a bank that cares. And that means no overdraft fees, lots of practical perks, and automatic upgrades. Truist One Checking. One simple choice. Visit truist.com/one. Truist.com/ONE. Truist Bank, member FDIC.
Marketing is everywhere. From the billboards on the highways to the notifications on your phone, we are constantly bombarded with people trying to sell us stuff. What makes good marketing? Are you doing enough in your life personally and professionally to market yourself? You have questions, and the Marketing Madmen have answers. Tune in every Saturday, now at 4 p.m., right here on Extra 106.3 to get practical marketing advice from expert guests who are shaping and reshaping the business world. They say marketing is a madman's game. Join the Marketing Madmen every Saturday at 4 p.m. to find out why.
Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watch Company, where quality and value make the difference. Locally owned and located in Sandy Springs, offering you the finest selection of unique diamonds, sapphires, rubies, and emerald jewelry, as well as other fine gemstones. Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watches has been servicing Rolex watches for over 30 years, and their Rolex-trained watchmaker will service your watch in their state-of-the-art Rolex service center in their store. Lee Brandt uses only genuine Rolex parts, and their estimates are free. Drop by Lee Brandt in the Trader Joe's Shopping Center in Sandy Springs or visit LeeBrandt.com.
Technical Support Architect, CSO, TLM positions offered by Manhattan Associates Incorporated in Atlanta, Georgia. Responsible for the initial stages of large, complex projects and enhancements by overseeing the gathering of requirements from the client and translating those into technical solutions. Up to 25% domestic travel required. Employee reports to office in Atlanta, Georgia. Position may work from home, but must live within commuting distance of stated office. Apply online at www.manh.com/about-us/careers.
Hey golfers, the next time you're looking for a quality course to play with a great variety of hole layouts and elevation changes that demand every shot in your bag, then you've got to line up a tee time at Wolf Creek Golf Course. Since 2001, Wolf Creek has earned a reputation as one of the most challenging and most fun golf course experiences out there. Wolf Creek is conveniently located just 10 minutes west of the Atlanta airport and only 15 minutes southeast of downtown Atlanta. When you play golf at Wolf Creek, you'll find beautiful natural scenery and excellent turf from the tee boxes to the fairways to the greens, with top-notch Bermuda grass in tournament condition. After your round, Wolf Creek offers a patio area for your group to enjoy a 19th hole gathering. Golf Digest selected Wolf Creek previously as one of the best golf courses to play in the Atlanta area. To book a tee time, please visit wolfcreekgc.com or call 404-344-1334. That's 404-344-1334. wolfcreekgc.com.
Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station is always streaming live across Georgia on the Extra 106.3 app. Get the live stream and your favorite Extra podcast anywhere you go. Grab the Extra 106.3 app now for Apple or Android.
Doug, Rhino, and Losa on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. We're on the air until 10, and we are blessed to have Jeff Criswell. He's running for Congress, Georgia 6. Here on the air with us. Go to his website, jeffcriswell.com. You can learn about him, learn about his campaign, and donate if you are compelled once you hear his story. And he is convinced, and I love the conviction you speak with, Jeff. You're convinced you can win this district.
I mean, honestly, it's not can. I'm going to win.
I love it.
Point blank.
It's point blank.
You guys, now, you guys are young. You don't remember 1969, the 1969 Super Bowl.
No.
Mr. Joe Namath.
I remember that name.
He made a prediction.
He let everybody know.
They were playing the Baltimore Colts. The Colts were supposed to kill them. And Joe Namath, this was down in Miami, says, we're going to win. I really feel that strongly about it. We're going to win this election.
Why do you think you're going to win? Like, what is it that tells you, besides, I think you have a really good opportunity, but what do you think voters are going to see in you that say, hey, yeah, this is why we're going to win? What are they going to be attracted to about you?
Well, okay, so just to be honest with you, I'm obviously going to be on Trump's coattails here.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to see a lot of voters, a lot of Democratic voters jumping ship from Biden to Trump. And when they vote for Trump, they're just going to sort of reflexively vote down ballot. So I'm going to get some of that. But I think when I get out there and I start campaigning and people see that I'm an authentic, genuine person and I am not affected by race, I could care less, man. I don't care black, white. I don't care. I just want to do the right thing for the constituents of the 6th District. Not only that, McBath, oh my God, her strategy is to not campaign. Her strategy is to not show up. She just wants to sail through this thing without doing anything, without saying anything. She can't do it this time, I promise you.
She bought those votes.
How's the ground game as far as what's the plan? Is it to hit everything locally? You talked about, obviously making visits to churches, getting a chance to talk to congregations. What is the plan in order to kind of grassroots this thing and ride that coattail as well?
I can tell you mentioned churches. The first thing I did, there's 365 churches in this district. I called each and every one of them. I still need to call about 35 of them.
You're slacking.
I personally called every one of those churches just to say, I'm Jeff, I'm a believer, you may vote this way or that way, but I'm a Christian and I'm voting and here's my agenda. So that was the very first thing that I did. Okay, in addition to that, obviously I need to get out there. I need to be, my experience from starting that baseball company, it translates so well to this, okay, in terms of getting out, seeing people, touching them, saying the right things at the right time.
I love it. Jeff, it's fascinating to see, but I'm also intrigued by the numbers game that you're talking about and the fact that you feel like there are so many minorities that are tired of what's been going on with the Democrat Party. And when we talk about minorities on this show, because we have a great reflection of different people, maybe people listening to the show wouldn't know how diverse this show actually is. But the ultimate thing for every American is just opportunity. They don't want handouts. They want opportunity, and they don't have it right now. And I think that's something that has to be a part of your message, no?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you say, you don't want to live in a socialist society. You want to live in a market-driven society with capitalism where people are motivated to go out, work hard, learn, crack those books when you're in school, okay, get out into that market and fight for what you want. So everybody can do that. Black folks can do that just as well as white folks. Okay, there is no quote unquote, I'm hearing the word white supremacy. I don't believe in that. Okay. Everybody has an opportunity here in the United States. Everybody has an opportunity to win.
It's just merit that they're working on. And, and you talked about a baseball company, and we talked about that off air. You started AD Star, which is a baseball company, softball company. We use it in our softball leagues all over the country. You built that business from scratch. That's all based on merit. And if you can do that, and, that's the message you need to get out there to people is, hey, I built this company. You can too. It doesn't matter your race, your religion, your color, your sexuality, whatever. You can do it. And that's what it's based on your merit.
Oh, God, yes. I'm a big believer in having a dream and going real hard for it.
Well, and I think about like inflation, and we started off by talking about that and how that's affecting everyone. Inflation's a thief, is what it really comes down to. And when you talk about how we've got to get our spending under control, what we're seeing is that it is limiting the American dream. It's limiting opportunities.
Oh, totally.
The little things you want to be able to do. If you want to, for instance, if you wanted to invest in yourself going back to school, when everything costs 30% more, you're living paycheck to paycheck. Those investment opportunities for yourself get harder and harder.
It's crazy. Americans are spending on average $1,000 more per month with Biden than they were with Trump. Yeah. Okay. Gas. It's crazy. It's super expensive. Groceries. Real estate. Mortgages. Rents. Okay. Oh, God. What else? Cars, everything. Everything is so much more expensive.
Eggs.
No, Jeff, you're exactly right.
Eggs. On this show, it always goes back to eggs.
I love eggs.
Remember that? Oh my God, what a bizarro situation with eggs and butter.
Yeah. How crazy when we joke around about it on the show that if something as small and simple as an egg can cost this much more, how much do you think it is if you just want to, find your first home?
Right.
It's impossible. What's the parting message for folks listening right now?
Hey, folks, I'm going to win this election. Hypothetically, I can win this election with 2 tin cans and a ball of string if I have to. However, if you'll get on over to jeffcriswell.com, help me out. Hit that donate button. I don't care if it's $20 or $200 or $2,000. It all helps. The more you help me, the easier this win becomes. But I'm going to win no matter what.
All right. Well, go support. Support financial campaign. Get the message out. That's important. So make sure you go to jeffcriswell.com. That's great. Okay, real quick, since you're a baseball guy, what are we going to do to watch the Braves? Are you upset about the Braves not being on TV? Can we get some legislation that says we got to get free Braves games no matter where they play?
We'll look at that.
All right.
You know what?
That may not be the focus.
I can't really violate these contracts, but I'd like to watch the Braves too.
Look, if the Democrats can tell you they're going to give you student debt relief and lie to you about everything unconstitutionally they're going to do, just throw it out there. Pander.
No, don't.
Especially in the sixth.
That's what they do, man. We got to avoid that. But Jeff, thank you so much, man. And we wish you the best of luck. And we know you're going to win, too.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Morning Xtra and Xtra 106.3. 8 o'clock hour brought to you by Southern Exteriors, the Southeast's premier home exterior solution. Quality and precision you can rely on for over 20 years. SouthernExteriors.co. Yes, that's the website, SouthernExteriors.co. So keep it here on Xtra 106.3. Get the Glenn Beck program, then Clay Travis and Buck Sexton. But we are on the air Monday through Friday, 6 until 10 every weekday, and we're glad to have people like Jeff Criswell on, and we hope that you'll go support him too. For Jeff and Rhino and Los and Board Up, Joe Virgin River, my name is Tug. Y'all come back now. You hear?
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's Pete, and here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
There was a headline, The Long History of Older and Younger People Not Seeing Eye to Eye, Washington Post. I read the whole story. Nowhere, predictably, did the writer actually explain what is going on here and the reason the young and the old don't see eye to eye. First of all, the older people have experienced the greatest teacher out there. These protesters, these stupid, mindless, useful, idiot protesters really have no idea how ignorant they are. And nobody can convince them because their minds are not yet developed to the point they can engage in rational thought.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.